have 50 minutes.
I know. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. On this episode, I actually managed to get a guest. I know, Bihu. I actually did it. Shout out to my friend Darwin. I'm gonna have him on in just a minute. I'm gonna call him, and we're gonna get it in. We have some. I have a couple topics that I really want to talk about for this podcast episode. So stay tuned for this. And if you guys are listening to this on Spotify, yes, I managed to get this on Spotify. Thank you guys. You can also subscribe to me on YouTube at RevxTV, RevxTV. If you're not listening to this on Spotify and you're watching the video, you're watching me right now speaking to you directly to the camera, then listen to this on Spotify. It's not that hard. You just go to Spotify, look for the Geek Realm of with long title, The Geek Realm with Hose. It should be there on the podcast. You follow me, you follow the podcast, and you just listen to it if you're like on a long drive to work or whatever the case. So without further ado, I'm just gonna go straight into calling my boy Darwin and seeing if he's here. Oof! I need to tone down the volume of the headphones. My headphone volume was loud. Yo, you can see this recycling bag. Can you take this recycling bag? That looked terrible, dude. Let's see if he's here.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Hey. It worked.
We did it.
Here we are.
Hello.
Okay. All right. How you doing, Darwin?
I'm doing great. Got my DoorDash.
You got DoorDash. Oof.
I got some mac and cheese from and some chicken burger because it was close.
Oh, there you go. Before they raid it, you managed to get some chicken.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Before they freaking attacked.
Exactly.
Before I get straight into the topics, Darwin, you do YouTube videos, right? Like you are. I don't know. Would you say you're a YouTuber?
I do YouTube videos every once in a while. I like to stream on YouTube or on Twitch at SoraMotto. Same for Twitch, same for YouTube. I don't really keep a consistent schedule. It's mostly just like whenever I want. It's always like late in the night anyway that I stream, so it doesn't, But I play games on there. Sometimes I post vlogs, but it's mostly just games on my PS4.
I know, because I'd be seeing like Sora streaming this and Sora streaming that. And I'm like, oh, what is he playing now?
And
I'm just like, oh, okay. I saw your Final Fantasy stream a little bit because I was like curious how it looked, the new game.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna get this new Final Fantasy game, but I was like, I need to see exactly like how the remaster version is, because like,
it's fun. I think my favorite part of that is because in preparation of the remake, you're talking about FF7, right?
Yeah, yes.
In preparation of it, I decided to play the original FF7 on my Switch, and I played just a little bit past where the remake ends. And one thing that I noticed is that they were very faithful in recreating the characterization of some of the characters. Like it was in the stream, so I can probably like give it away. But there's a point where where Barrett asks Cloud like how old he was or something like that, and Cloud was like, Oh no! Barrett says something like Barrett says like, "Are you 20 years old or something? Or are you 20?" And Cloud says, "No, I'm first class, soldier first class." And he goes, "No, I meant how old you were, you stupid idiot." And he goes, and like he's like that. Like Cloud's like he's trying to be cool, but he's just kind of lame.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we love Cloud, though. I mean, he's so like relatable in that sense. Cause like imagine. Well, at the same time though, it was kind of cringe. Like that response is very cringe. Cause like imagine you responded with that. Like I'm like, hey, how you doing, Darwin? You just be like, I'm doing first class. You just be like, what?
Well, that's the thing. that's the thing. So like over the years, like Cloud kind of became characterized by this like grim, dark emo, like I'm too cool to even respond to you, type thing. But that people forget that in the first game, he's kind of an idiot, and he's kind of bumbling around, like he's pretending to be cool, but he's like, oh, fine, I guess I care about the environment. But it's a fun game. Yeah, definitely pick it up. I don't know when it comes out on Xbox. I think.
Yeah, that's the thing that's bothering me. I'm just like, is it out or is it not? Like, you know, I haven't double checked recently, so I don't know if I can confirm whether it's out or not. I think it might be out, but
I think
either way,
Sony has a year-long exclusivity on it.
Yeah, because Sony's fucking Sony and they got everything. But
what is it? The one thing about FF7 specifically is it was the first Final Fantasy game to come out for PlayStation, because Square Enix and Nintendo, I don't know if they had like a falling out or some sort, but previously Final Fantasy was a Nintendo title, and when they when they couldn't make the new Final Fantasy for Nintendo basically said no, and they went to Sony. They basically designed FF7 to be. They said we want it so that Nintendo basically goes bankrupt. Like, we want them to fight really hard for this. Like, we want this to be so good that you have to buy a PlayStation for it. Like, sacrifice your Nintendo for the PS1. So it's good, you know. And the story so far, I haven't finished the original either, and I haven't finished the remake. But from what I've seen so far, it's holding up pretty well.
That's always good, because like the one thing for sure was the graphics. Like, yo, the graphics, they definitely did upgrade it. Whether it was a good or bad, so I saw some people online saying it was like they don't know how, they kind of like, it's like when Halo like updated their sort of graphics, people were like, what the fuck is this? We don't like the monsters in this. For somewhere, like, you know, like people kind of like the blockiness of like certain characters. So, but for the most part, everybody keeps like generally saying like, this shit's fucking beautiful. Like, this is breathtaking beautiful. Like how they were able to like keep it, but also like just update it in the way you probably should. Kind of like, hopefully they're gonna do with the Justice League movie, but we shall see.
Oh boy, the Snyder Cut has arrived. You know what?
I mean,
I'm so excited for it.
I mean, let's just go to that, because that's the topic I want to talk about, because it's like,
I can't wait.
Are you genuinely excited for it? I'm curious to know. Like, I'm actually curious to see like your perspective on it, because you might have a completely different take than I do on it.
So what do you mean? Justice League's the best movie in the world, right?
You're right, man. I can't dispute the great Zack Snyder. His plot devices are second to none.
This whole thing has been going on for so long that I'm glad that it's coming out, so that people will just like stop talking about it. You know? So, well, you know, with your brand, the
fucking fans just keep going, man. Like, I was like, at first I was like, yeah, release the Snyder Cut, but then I kind of stopped, and then I'm like, whoa, people are still going. Like, I thought it was done. Like, but people kept bringing it back, and here we are, like fucking years later. So.
Well, the assumption that people make is that Zack Snyder made a whole movie, and WB decided no, and they got Joss Whedon to do some reshoots and add some scenes where we had to CGI Superman's mustache. But the case is that Zack Snyder had to leave the movie early. He didn't finish the movie, and Joss Whedon came in and filled it in. You know, I don't really know if people are aware why Zack Snyder left the movie. Is because he, you know, his daughter like died. Like, of course, like, you'd stay away from, like, you know, like, let me just stop. I don't want to make my little superhero movie. Let me just take care of my family for a quick second.
Yeah.
And the fact that the backlash is like, but release the Snyder Cut, it's kind of insensitive to me. But now that it's being made, because it's being made, it doesn't exist. It's got to be created first. I can't wait to see if it does live up to people's expectations, or if it's better, then fine. But if it's worse, I wonder what the reaction will be either way.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I am on the train where, like, I think if it's all Zack Snyder, like, I think it's just gonna be better, because I remember when we saw Justice League. My biggest complaint about that afterwards, why I felt so fucking let down, bro, was because I could tell when Joss Whedon directed scenes. Like, you would see Jason Momoa, and he seemed a little like his color scheme was a little off. There was something about his color scheme that didn't fit with Zack's color scheme. I mean, they tried to fit it in, but you could clearly tell it was a freaking reshoot. And it took me out, bro. Like, I was just like, okay, this is a Joss Whedon shot. This is a Zack Snyder shot. This is a Joss Whedon shot. And then it kind of made me, like, just feel like I was watching, like, a put together movie, like not a movie that was meant to be like shown, just put together, like, fuck, we gotta, okay, let's just make this and show it because we fucking need, like, Justice League's coming out, so we gotta have something. But it's like,
it almost felt like a movie that was cobbled together from the work of another director that didn't finish the movie.
Well, the thing, I thought at first I was actually like on board. You know, they got like the Batman animated series composer to come in. They put that music in there, so I was like on board. I was like, Joss Whedon is not terrible. He might be able to fit, but the reshoots didn't, like, I don't know, like, I'm just like, how could you think that people weren't gonna notice that this was a reshoot? Like, it was clearly like those scenes were clear reshoots. It was just not like.
I mean, even if you look in the trailer, like, there's that shot of when the Justice League confronts Superman, when, like, you know, when they bring him back to life, and like the trailer, in the trailer, that scene is shot so that it's supposed to look like it's at nighttime, but in the full movie, it's kind of like the sun's still out. Like, I think it's like the crack of dawn, but these characters, like, every single part of the design aspect of the characters, like their outfits, the way the shots were filmed, were all based under Zack Snyder's vision of, like, this movie takes place at nighttime and nighttime only. so some of these characters, like, there's a shot of them on the roof talking to Jim Gordon. Right, and Jim Gordon, you know, he's dressed up in, like, normal people clothes, and Batman kind of fits in the scene because he kind of blends into the environment. And you got fucking, like, Wonder Woman and the Flash and Aquaman, and they're all, like, brightly colored. Like, these outfits, like, were not designed for this color scheme. It's like someone took a bloom filter over the whole scene.
Yeah.
And just increase the exposure on it, increase the contrast and all the colors. Be like, well, we need to have more than 3 colors in this movie this time.
Yeah.
So.
Which I get, though. Like, I get why they would do that, but at the same time, it's also like, it doesn't work. Like, like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You gotta look at it and be like, it doesn't work. Because Shazam, Shazam, that color scheme is, you know, it's kind of like more colored and more saturated than, like, Zack Snyder's vision, but it still fits in the universe because it's still kind of gritty, but it's not, like, to the point where, like, everything, like you said, is nighttime. So it kind of fits. So you could see Shazam in the world, but it just, I don't know, man. It's like a teeter-totter thing. My whole thing is I just want, if it's Zack Snyder and he's behind it, because it seems like he really wants this to happen more so than anything. That's why I'm kind of like, that's why I'm kind of like, okay, give the man a chance to, like, make what he wants to make. Because I don't know if you've seen, like, online, after this became a thing, and after it got, like, approved by HBO Max, the guy who this might seem stupid, but the guy who directed David Ayer, who directed Suicide Squad, came out and said a bunch of things about how they fucked his movie up, and I don't know, man. Now everybody's like, release the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad.
No, let's not. Let's not do that. Let's leave it. What, is it gonna compete with the Suicide Squad? You know,
the new one. Yeah, you're right.
The reason why Shazam works, though, is because who directed Shazam?
David S. Sandberg. Yeah.
Did anyone else come in and take over?
Well, there's your there's your answer.
Why how does Wonder Woman work? Because Patty Jenkins came in, made a movie, and no one stopped her. The problem that WB has is that they keep hiring these, like, visionary directors, and they keep telling them what to do. It was the same problem with the Suicide Squad movie, where they had a story, they had like a clear idea of what they wanted the movie to be,
Mhm.
and then they saw is it Deadpool that came out, and then they decided
Yep, you're
let's
right
make it
on.
that.
Mhm.
They said let's make it that, like, you know, I think the original version of Suicide Squad was supposed to be a bit more like not as wholesome, or like not
It was
as
a drama.
fun.
It was a complete like dark drama. Like David Ayer came out and said literally the whole movie is not what it was supposed to be. Like what came out was not what I wanted, but I just kept quiet because
And then
fuck it.
and then they saw how well Deadpool made in the box office, and they're like, let's make it kind of silly, let's make it fun, let's put like green spray paint over everything, and you
Yeah.
know, and I don't know, I feel like at this point that the movie has been it's literally like butchered so much that I don't know if I could even see it in any, you know, release the Ayer cut. I don't think I could even like that. I think that just like leave it alone. I feel like they should just they're trying so hard to catch up to Marvel, but they're not being patient with it. Because what, Iron Man 1 came out like 2008, and then the next, what is it, like Iron Man 2 came out like 2 years after that, and then you get Thor and then Iron Man 3 and whatnot. Like they took a while.
Captain America.
Like between Iron Man 1 and the first Avengers movie, like how many movies pass in between then? But they went, we're gonna introduce Superman, and then we're gonna have Batman and Wonder Woman, and then we're gonna have like 5 villains, and then we're gonna have the Justice League, and like that's barely like I can count on like 6 movies where they introduce these characters. It's like that's not enough time. Like I don't know who these people are.
Yeah, that was the biggest complaint. That was the biggest thing that everybody, because like it's hard to not compare the movies to Marvel movies, because Marvel movies just did it. They just did it like they gave you a McDonald's burger and you liked it, and so they kept giving you it and you enjoyed it. And at the end, they give you like some never before seen burger and you fucking ate it up. And there's no point in DC for trying to catch up. Like that's my biggest thing is I'm like, if I was in those rooms, I'd be like, dude, we're not gonna fucking catch up. Let's just go at our own pace, and the movies will speak for themselves. Like these characters are like arguably more popular, so it's like just make good movies, and the characters will break the records. Like Wonder Woman, people came out for that fucking movie. Why? Because it was about fucking time that Wonder Woman got her own movie, like big movie. Like it's just, so it's like they have the characters. The Flash, they are fucking dropping the ball on the Flash. He is quite possibly one of the most interesting Justice League members. I'm so upset about that because I'm just like, dude, give my boy a movie. You're fucking him up. And now Ezra Miller out here doing stupid stuff. I'm like, stop.
Punching women.
Stop. I'm like, I need my Flash movie.
Oh,
stop. No. It's just, but at the end of the day, I want to see the Zack Snyder cut. And I'm not going to lie to you. I kind of am curious about the David Ayer cut only because he says that he shot actual things that the company that edited the movie that Warner Brothers hired said, no, we're not, you need to cut that, and we're going to reshoot that and cut that. And they specifically picked things because of Deadpool. It was Deadpool. Like, and they were like, oh shit, we got Harley Quinn? Fuck, that's our female Deadpool. What do we do? So, and then it didn't work though. Like, they just gotta, you hit the nail on the coffin when you said they gotta leave the directors be and let them do what they gotta do. That's why I'm like, I need to see this Zack Snyder fucking cut, because we need to see what the man had. Darkseid is coming, bro. Like, there's a bunch of shit that he wanted to do that I need to see. I just, especially with Corona, I need to see this. I don't know why, but I need to see this.
Well, with all this shit going on in the world, he's gotta get something out of there.
Gotta get something.
I don't know. I feel like you could trace all this, like all the missteps, all the way back to when they decided to go for a third Batman movie instead of moving on with the Justice League, because right after The Dark Knight came out, they were gonna make a Justice League movie, and a while ago there was like screenshots that came out of like people, like they got all the costumes ready, they got the Justice League in, and they were getting ready to shoot it, and then they decided, you know, we're gonna go push for The Dark Knight Rises instead of the Justice League movie. And I feel like if they had at least established, maybe not start with the Justice League movie, but maybe like establish that they want to connect start their own like cinematic universe, if they started way back then, by now they could have started doing they could have started introducing the Justice League and the Suicide Squad, because like these things they take time. You can't just jump in and introduce like all these characters who have like these varied backstories.
Yeah. No, it's not a good thing.
And like Marvel's not entirely their hands aren't clean of this either. Like they have like several missteps where they introduce a big ensemble cast before they start introducing the characters by themselves. Like what movie just got announced for Marvel at the most inopportune time was Black Widow. And if you've seen the last few Avengers movie, you know why that doesn't make fucking sense.
Well, people wanted it, but I mean, if you haven't seen if anyone hasn't seen like what the fuck? But like she's dead. Like what? The thing is, like, I get that her backstory is like unique, is interesting, and I do want to see that. But I'm just like, it's kind of like the whole Wonder Woman thing, where I'm like, it needed to come out yesterday. Like that shit needed to come out after the Avengers came out. Like because people don't want to talk about it because it's Marvel, but they never saw her as even though it's fucking Scarlett Johansson, they never saw the character as a plausible character that people would watch, and they were fucking, they're idiot. I mean, the executives that do this are fucking dumb, and that's why I'm so glad Black Panther exists, because Black Panther himself wasn't even supposed to exist. He wasn't even gonna be brought in because Kevin Feige said, we don't need him. People were like, what the fuck? That's literally one of the main guys of the Avengers, and you're not gonna have him in there? You fuck. Like, what? So I'm so glad that somebody came in, stepped in, and was like, Kevin, this needs to happen. Because you need people there that actually know the fucking content to be like, you don't realize how much of a bombshell this character is, that once you drop it, like, it's gonna make you money. You don't even realize it. Like with Deadpool, bro, that's just a perfect example. They didn't even utilize the character properly. Then you actually do the research and you see this shit's fucking insane how popular this guy got. Why? Because he's just a fucking entertaining character. Just let him be who he is. Just let them be who they are. But studio heads don't understand, and they want to make money, so they want to make the strategic choices. But at the dispense of this, we get like cuts like this where people are like, give us a different version, the version that has supposed to come out.
You have to have people who actually like care about what they're doing and actually have a plan as to what they're gonna do with the characters they're given, because the reason why the Deadpool movie works really well, and the reason why the Deadpool movie is like, why in the movie Deadpool is characterized so well, is because Ryan Reynolds specifically loves Deadpool so much. Like he's a big fan, but not only that, he can actually understand what this character is supposed to represent past the point of like just playing the character and like being a parody version of that character. Like he's I forget what the word is, but he's kind of like enveloping himself in the character. Like he's being Wade Wilson. He's not like, he understands what that means in a movie. Like, what are some of the things that you need to establish in a Deadpool movie, and that's just something that not a lot of directors can understand. And honestly, I mean, it is kind of hard to find someone that can direct a proper movie if you don't know what these characters are supposed to represent. If Kevin Feige didn't know who Black Panther was, and he couldn't find someone who could understand what the character was, and then the movie came out anyway.
Well, that one specifically, like, there were options. Like, people were like, we can give you a fucking list of people who would make this fucking movie bomb, and we could give you a list of actors. That one was a no-brainer that they just shat on for a long time. But just like if you just like half-ass it, then it wouldn't have been the fucking cultural reset that it was. Yeah. You're right. There's a reason why Black Panther is such an important movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because it's fucking good. Because the person that directed it understood what the character is. Ryan fucking Coogler is the shit. Yeah.
He understood exactly. He understood, like, what are the things that you need to hit. You need to establish Wakanda. You need to establish who Black Panther is as a character and what he represents. And it's hard to come by if you're just sitting around with a bunch of suits walking around going like, what's this one? Harley Quinn,
That looks good.
She looks like a dumb bimbo. Let's make her a dumb bimbo. Never mind the fact that when she was introduced, she was a fucking psychologist, like a doctor.
Well, David Ayer said in Suicide Squad she was legit the crazy Harley Quinn that people expect, but screen tests.
That's the other thing that's super weird is because if you read comics now, that's like when you watch the Suicide Squad movie, she's like all goo goo gaga for Joker, but like that's no longer the case in the comic books.
Because the interesting thing about comic books though is because they got so far ahead now, where it's like, well, yeah, she's established, and now they're introducing a new character for Joker, and yeah, the comics are far ahead from where we're at. The movies right now are just. Like,
I get that if you introduce a character, you have to go into the backstory, but it's just kind of weird seeing people again going like, "Oh, my boyfriend's the Joker and I'm Harley Quinn," and I'm like, "Ugh, that's really what you want to model your relationship after?" It's just weird seeing that in public because of the Suicide Squad movie coming out, and like everyone's like, "Oh my god, let's be Joker and Harley Quinn for Halloween." Like, yeah, and they're like these couples walking around. I'm like, that's really. I don't know how I feel about that. The fact that that's a thing that's coming back. I don't know.
Well, I mean, kids don't realize the intention psychologically of the characters, so they're just like, "That looks cool. Let's dress up as them." But it's like, no, kids. They're an abusive relationship. That's not what you want. But that's the thing that David Ayer was trying to show, though. But I guess it was too gruesome, too much, or just too much, I guess, that the studio was like, we can't show this because it's not a healthy relationship. So we gotta have her goo goo gaga over him. But it's like, that's not what it is, though. That's the thing is, like, there's a reason why she ends up leaving him. You can get to those reasons if you establish that relationship as a toxic relationship. Like, toxic relationships are real. If you avoid that, you're gonna sugarcoat everything. People need to see that so they understand. But I mean, look at Joker. How much? Like, dude, come on. Like, I'm just like, they're stupid. I just think at this point, it's like just listen to the directors. You just give them the money, and they'll do the right shit. Because Patty Jenkins knows what she's doing. Ryan Coogler knows what he's doing. These people know what they're doing. They fucking know the characters.
Someone pointed out that the difference between Marvel heroes and DC heroes is that Marvel heroes are just like normal dudes who just happened upon superpowers, whereas DC characters are usually like gods and kings. Like Superman, like it's like a god, like a god figure. Wonder Woman is like, like the same thing. Like she's like damn near invincible, and she can fly.
Yeah.
Batman has money.
Well, Batman's the interesting one because he's the one that we can be used as our scapegoat to be like, oh, okay, there's these gods, and then there's Batman. You know what I'm saying? We can chill with Batman and see the perspective of gods through him. But, yeah, I mean, they literally have a movie that's going to come out called New Gods. We'll see how that does. It has to do with Darkseid and his whole apocalypse family. So, but the whole thing is, the interesting thing is that this whole DC thing is really like they were gonna get the ball, right, and they fumbled the shit out of it only because they listened to what people wanted. And granted, people want many things, and we see it all the time. People change their mind like every day. They're like, I want this today, I want this tomorrow. If you listen to people, you're not gonna make a cohesive story that people will follow. Like Marvel was like, we'll listen to you, we'll throw in some little Easter eggs, but we got our main story going on. Like, we got a main thing, and you will trust me, when we get to the fucking end, you'll cry. And what did people do? They fucking bawled. So you just gotta like trust what you have, and I don't think they have that right now, and that's the sad thing. I want them to.
They're trying so hard to please everybody that everyone just ends up getting pissed off at what they do anyway.
Yeah. So
you can't cater to the fans who were already there and pull in people who have the opposite the different and opposite expectation of what these characters should be or what they want from a movie, because the people that are gonna come watch this are Batman fans and the Wonder Woman fans. Like, imagine like if they just made the Wonder Woman movie, and instead of characterizing the character as a Wonder Woman, they just decide, oh, she's gonna have this different backstory now, just because it did well during the test screenings, and this is what everyone's watching these days. So let's do that. Let's have her work in the city, and then she discovers a tiara, and she becomes Wonder Woman. I'm like, like that feels like a legit conversation that could happen.
I feel like it happened, bro.
In a room that haven't read these comic books or have no idea what this character is, you know?
Yeah, no, I know exactly. I feel like that conversation did happen because they definitely... Wonder Woman has like a few backstories. There's the George Perez one where she was made from clay, and then there's the New 52 one where she was like... They say she's a demigod. So a god fucked, a Themyscirian woman, and here comes a demigod, Wonder Woman. And so that's the one they ran with. Because the clay one... Realistically, like, I could see it. Like, if you were to show that in a movie, like, kids would be like, oh, that's cool. But, like, adults that you're trying to get would be like, what the that's bullshit. How is she made from clay? So, they did have that conversation. But, like, that, for her, that made sense. I don't know. We'll see how this Justice League movie turns out. We'll see.
I'm excited for the Batman movie.
I am too, though, frankly, but only because of Matt Reeves, and that motherfucker put his foot down in Warner Brothers and said, "I'm making my movie, whether you like it or not, or I step aside. Here's my. I literally directed apes, like digital apes. I could do this shit." and Warner Brothers had no option. They had to be like, "Okay, you're right." They
need to learn that the reason why these movies are doing well is because they hire excellent directors. Mostly excellent directors that have an idea of what their movie is going to do or what their movie is going to be from beginning to end, and they need to just step aside and let them make the movie and stop fucking with it. Finish the movie out and and let it go through the test screenings. Like don't like cut it up because you saw a Marvel movie. It's like, oh my god, like a WB exec just walked out of the new Spider-Man movie. It's like, we need this to be more like Spider-Man. It's like, it doesn't really have to, because the reason why I liked watching the DC movies is because they have a different tone from the Marvel movies.
Dude, I heard that from everyone I asked. Like, coworkers I used to work with, like, just random people I would ask. Because, people nowadays watch comic book movies like it's regular. And they don't read comic books. They just kind of like it. And I asked one of my homies a long time ago, I was like, what? Like, if you had to choose between Marvel and DC, like, what's the one thing that differentiates it between Marvel and DC, and why do you like it? And he's like, you know what? Like, I like DC movies because they're darker. And I was like, really? I was like, a lot of people are shitting on DC movies because they're dark. But he said, I'm tired of the jolly Marvel movies. I like going to the movie theater in a superhero movie where everything's the same to see a darker version. Like, and I was like, that makes sense, because if we're seeing all these Marvel movies that feel the same, it's refreshing to see, like, that's why I don't think they should completely change the tone, and I'm so glad what they did with Shazam. I think that if they could just replicate that 100 times, that'd be fucking dope. Then they'll be able to master the tone difference and be able to see, like, yo, this is our character bubble, and it's different from Marvel, and people like it. So it's like, there's no... I mean, my biggest fear with this whole thing that I wanted to talk about too was Henry Cavill. I don't know if you've been keeping up with him and Superman, and I fucking love that man as Superman. I don't know what it is, but I love that man as Superman, and he is my Superman. Like,
is it his chiseled good looks?
Yeah, no, it's not even just about his good looks, bro. It's just, I don't know what it is about him and the character. No, bro. He just...
It's okay. It's okay. Me too.
Yeah, his abs are just... Same. His abs are perfect. No, but, like, he was gonna leave. Like, he said, I'm done. Because his contract was up, and so it made sense, But he still... There's a side of him that was like, I'm gonna leave. But then there was a side of him that was kind of like, like Hugh Jackman was like, this is my last movie. Fuck it. I'll do another one. Okay, fuck it. I'll do another. He was like... I can't leave Superman. And he was like, if they discuss something with my second movie, if I get a second movie, then we'll see. If not, because he was going to be in Shazam, but because of contract and negotiations and things, he just didn't. They had to CGI a different person, but he was going to be in there. And now they announced, or I don't know if it's official yet. I saw like different articles. I don't know if it's real. But they did say that he is already talking to Warner Brothers, and they're discussing a new contract, and he should be coming back as Superman. So I was like, "Yo, let's fucking go."
I mean, you saw that the live stream when the Snyder Cut got announced. Like,
I didn't watch the live stream, but I saw the reaction to it.
Well, so here's what happened. Zack Snyder had his own little live stream, and then he had people come in, and then they asked him, was like, "When are you gonna release the Snyder Cut?" And Zack Snyder didn't announce it, but he invited a guest on, which was Henry Cavill, to announce the Snyder Cut. So his involvement as Superman is still probably on. I mean, he wouldn't go there if he wasn't be like, yeah, he wasn't gonna go there and be like, no, I quit. Watch Mission Impossible. I think the reason. I mean, I feel like Mission Impossible just came out, and he saw people's reactions to Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. And he was like, listen, like, I got this Mission Impossible thing. I can't shave this mustache, all that. But now I feel like Henry Cavill's like, I'm hungry, I could eat.
That's a good point.
Hey,
that's a good point.
Hey, you still got my blue spandex on? Yo, I can still wear it out.
That's a good point. I was more like fanboying over it because like he's like the Tony Stark, if you will, of this universe where he kind of just started it all. But you're right though, that makes sense
because he doesn't gotta eat.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much he made from The Witcher, but yeah.
That's true. He is in The Witcher. I watched like an episode of it, and I couldn't because I was afraid it would turn into Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's not like Game of it's different, but it is. The first episode's a little rough, give it time. Yeah, I haven't finished it, but it's not Game of Thrones for sure. It's not, but so we'll see. I know Ezra Miller. I don't know what the fuck is up with that guy. Like, it's just I want my Flash movie, but this man, I don't know. The thing is, like, that video, if we don't even have to like talk about it too much, but like it seemed weird. Like I saw it and I was like, is this real or was this staged? I wasn't sure. I legit wasn't sure if it was real or staged. I don't know why.
It seemed like, I mean, it's a very short clip. We're talking about, there's a video going on about where Ezra Miller's like choking out some lady in the subway.
That one, yeah.
And the reaction to it was like knee jerk, but at the same time, I'm like, I watched that video and I was like, the situation, it feels like they would, I feel like in his defense, people like him, like celebrities, get flocked all day, and he was by himself, and part of me feels like they weren't leaving him alone. That doesn't excuse how he reacted.
No,
at the same time, he sounded exasperated. He sounded like he wanted to be left alone. So I get it from that angle. It seemed like the lady getting choked out was like more uncomfortable than actually being hurt. Like she was kind of like giggling, like kind of like ah.
Yeah, that's why I was like, this feels weird. It felt weird. I don't know. The video felt off, and then because like all the main reaction to it was like, fuck it. Oh, Ezra Miller's canceled. Cancel. Ezra Miller. And I was like, wait a second. I'm not gonna lie. I've been choked out. I'm not choked out, but I've been choked. In jiu-jitsu plenty of times. To know the difference in combat, what like a good choke is, and what a stage choke could look like. And I'm just saying, that looked like a possible stage choke. Like the way Ezra's foot planning. I don't know. There was just specific things where I was like, this guy's not really that strong, or this girl's really just that. Because I was like, the way he was holding it, I was like, she could break free. She could. Mm-hmm. Most women could. But I was like, why didn't she? Like, I don't know. It's just there's too many variables in that video where I was like, fuck. Please don't fucking get rid of him. Let's just tie him down. Just tie him. And then just release him when the Flash movie has to come out, but just like make sure he's fine. Let him do a little Fantastic Beasts if he needs to, but I really want my Flash movie. We can't ruin that shit. And if they gotta recast, fuck it.
Why not get the Flash from the CW?
They actually did I don't know if you saw that. They actually did a crossover. Ezra went into that universe.
Oh.
They got him to be in that universe. I don't know how I felt about it, but it was cool. I mean,
it bothers me that the TV shows are not in the same continuity as the movies, because like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is.
The difference, I think, is I think DC established, especially because they did it in the comic books, that there's a multiverse, and that's probably what the TV shows and the movies are kind of like, why they're going to explain they can't cross is because this is a different universe, and this is and the only way they can cross is for these two, so I guess that's their explanation of it. But, it's just legal shit. They don't want the TV people to be on movies. They can't cross
because Ezra Miller and Gal Gadot is too expensive to go on a TV.
Yeah, like it's all that. Fuck, like like legit.
I really want to talk about it.
But the multiverse. So
yeah, exactly. That's how you explain it.
So, but Henry Cavill's back. We'll see. People want Ben Affleck to come back. No, I think he's coming back.
Ben Affleck to come back.
No, I want to wait and see Robert Pattinson. I was like, if Robert Pattinson does well, like I'm fine with him just taking over. The thing also with the Flash is they want to do a Flashpoint movie, which I'm not sure if you're familiar, is like essentially a fucking reboot.
The reset.
Yeah. So if they make that movie, that's easy money right there. That's easily done. So. But
the thing is, it's gonna star all these characters.
That's the thing too.
Who the general populace, I don't give a shit. Who is this man who was 100% a CG character? Why should I care? Like Flashpoint, that whole bit has so many interesting parts of it,
it's super
which only
good,
makes sense to you if you establish the character. I think one of the most interesting parts of Flashpoint is the fact that Batman is not Bruce Wayne, because in Flashpoint, Bruce Wayne died. And the Joker is Martha Wayne. I think that's an interesting dynamic of that character, but that's only if you compare it to the dynamic between Bruce Wayne, Batman, and actual Joker have. But if you have nothing to compare it to, that's your baseline, and so now the actual normal version of it is the foreign version of this dynamic. You know what I mean? I
totally get it. Yeah.
If you introduce Joker and Batman in this universe to be Martha and Thomas Wayne fighting each other, then when you go back to the actual universe, then it's just weird, and it's like, well, this isn't nearly as interesting as the first one, but I mean, like, it's still, it's still interesting
cool.
in the sense that it's good versus bad, but
it's neat.
But sorry, go ahead.
Oh no! I was just commenting. You go.
No, it's just like the dynamic between husband and wife have that extra layer in it, and it's meant to be a one-off. But if that's how you introduce the character, then yeah, it's gonna feel a little bit weird. I feel like they should not continue with this whole like contiguous universe. They started this with Shazam, where like they'll have little references to Superman, they'll have little references to Batman, but in all sense of the word, they are completely separate movies. Like Shazam might have a crossover, but like it's not to do with anything else that he's got going on. Whereas the Marvel movies, because they established that, when this character is here, then he has to be there. Like he can't go off and do his own movie at the same time. Like it's contiguous. Whereas the DC movies can all happen all at the same time because whatever, they're like comic book issues, and I feel like that's where they should take their angle, because it's too late. It's too late, because if you really want to do the cinematic universe, you have to start over, and they don't. And the problem is they're not gonna want to.
I think they do, and that's why I think they want to do the Flashpoint. But I agree with you. I don't want that. I don't want them to make that movie, only because I know they're gonna fuck it up for the very reasons you said. Like you need things to be established, and they just don't fucking have it. So I don't know, I'm torn on that whole like cinematic universe thing with the DC movies, only because like I feel like they could still somehow like make it work if they just fucking look at the Justice League Unlimited animated show, or look at Young Justice. Like, the way they structure their storytelling, characters come in and out, and it's cool. But you don't need to, like, have it all be like a complete mashup and have everyone, like, you know what I mean? Like, something can be standing alone, like you just said, like with Shazam. Something can stand alone, but still have a cinematic universe established. So I think it could be possible, but I don't know. We shall see. We shall see. But
I feel like if they were to do something different, they could fill in the hole that Fox left, which is I was super sad about the Fox acquisition of.
Well, we get to see Wolverine in Disney in Marvel movies.
Yeah,
I don't know,
but
that might be a good thing. I don't know. I don't know.
Here's the thing, though: is like the fundamental difference between the Disney movies and the Fox movies, that they were starting to pick up their stride, and then they got bought out. Was that the Marvel movies? You call them Marvel movies because that's their own genre, the superhero movie, right?
Yeah.
They basically created their own genre, and like, they revolutionized the idea of a cinematic universe. That's fine.
Right.
They're really good at that. But Fox came at it from a different angle, where instead of trying to make their own superhero movie, they decided, we're gonna make a comedy, but it's gonna have Deadpool in it. We're gonna have a horror movie, but we're gonna put the New Mutants in it. We're gonna have a western, but then we're gonna put Wolverine in it. You know, it's genre plus superhero and how that dynamic affects it, instead of making a superhero movie in the style of this. You know, they came at it from the exact opposite angle, and those movies that I just listed out are interesting. The New Mutants is still not out, but like the trailer that I saw was super interesting.
See that shit so bad, yeah.
But the movies that did come out, Logan and Deadpool, even Deadpool 2, fuck it, are like really, really good movies because they stuck with their genre and they just incorporated superheroes into that movie. You know, it's
true.
It's kind of like a normal setting, but in the context of what if one of the characters was a superhero, and you could totally do that. Like if you had a director that knew how to do that, you could totally do it. You know, but DC keeps trying to mimic. DC wants to mimic Marvel movies, but they keep hiring directors that can make Fox movies.
Well, the thing is, they just gotta let them make those movies. That's it. That's your secret. Just let those motherfuckers make the movies they want.
But I saw Spider-Man the other day, and it's gotta be like that. And I saw.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate it.
Yeah. Well, we shall see if they have it solved or if they do anything. But one news story that I did want to also talk about, only because I do know you are a fan. I don't. Remind me if you saw the movie, but they announced the crew's coming back, and this little hedgehog is gonna be on screen again. Have you seen? You saw Sonic the Hedgehog in theaters? Did you?
I wanted to. I never got around to it.
Shit.
I do know. I do know that. Well, I mean, I do know that a sequel was teased, so I do know about that. So
it's been officially announced.
Considering how well it went, I'm not surprised. I didn't get around to watching it, and by the time
I'm not gonna go
watch it the movie theater.
So then I'm not gonna fucking spoil it, even though like it's not that, it's not a complicated movie. Like, no, it's supposed to be for kids. Yeah, like you and your kid.
It's Detective Pikachu.
Everybody can enjoy it. It's a little getaway, but it was good though. That's the thing. Like, even though it was just that, like, I didn't expect it to be like an Oscar award-winning film, but it was a surprisingly good movie for what it was. Like, it wasn't terrible, and the thing that would have been so ironic is if they would have stuck with the original design. That would have been the only thing that people would have talked about was the original look, and they'd be like, "Bless you," and they'd be like, "Oh, Sonic looks terrible. Sonic looks terrible. Sonic looks terrible." But they wouldn't focus on like the actual things that they put in. So many Sonic Easter eggs, bro. It's so many Sonic Easter eggs from like the games and from just the whole Sonic lore that I was just like, "Geez, wow, dude! I can't believe they put that in a movie." and they did it good.
I wanted them to keep the original Sonic.
I know. For a minute you did.
I said, you know what? No, if this is gonna be terrible, fuck it up. Make him worse. Give him like a pig nose. Like scrunch up that nose harder. Give him buck teeth.
No.
Like fuck it up. Do it. I will line up. I'll be first in the theater. I will buy all the merchandise.
Well, I do. Listen, I'm not gonna say I wouldn't watch a version of this film that just dropped earlier this year in that design, because I fucking would. A lot of people would. They want to see it for some weird reason. I don't mind. Like, we already have a version where he looks accurate. So you know what I mean? Like, I thought they were gonna do that with the Blu-ray release. Just be like, haha, this is what it kind of could have looked like, but.
Yeah, they didn't. They did not include that. I wish they did. I would watch both.
That's the thing. That's what a lot of people were saying. Because I was like, embrace that sort of meme aspect of that character you created, and just fucking roll with it. Because now you have a good established
Sonic
thing
to show up in the next Sonic the Hedgehog game.
Hey, it's possible. Wait, you actually made me think about something.
Like Sonic Forces 2 includes the Sonic Boom Sonic.
I think
the movie Sonic.
Yeah, I think they did that in a mobile game already. So I think they're starting because it got popular.
That's hilarious.
So.
I know that Sonic Forces came out with like a T-shirt for your character with Sonic, the meme Sonic on it. So
that meme was also in the movie. The meme was in the movie. It was fucking perfect.
No, you know what? I want Tails to show up in the next movie, and he looks exactly like that old Sonic design.
Right.
or Ugandan Knuckles. Fuck it.
Well, I want listen. Ugandan Knuckles. I'm gonna fucking go for that one. They need to at least like give an Easter egg of that one. They need to at least do something with that one. That one cannot be dropped. That's legendary. That Ugandan Knuckles is perfect. It's perfect.
Even if you just have a shot of Knuckles, going up to like say the plot of the second movie is, Knuckles is trying to, he's coming after Sonic, right? And he's like, I've got to get him, right? And he goes up to a character, and he goes like, I know where Sonic is, and he goes, do you know the way? And then just cut,
bro.
Cut back to Sonic.
I would fucking die of laughter, and all the kids would be like, "What are you doing?" I'd fucking be dying of laughter if they did that. But that's perfect. I mean. That's perfect. That's what they should do, honestly.
It's classy, Yeah. Like it's not horribly racist.
You don't gotta do it with the fucking accent. Just let the character be.
No, you know what? No, fuck it. It's the one line with the accent. Like he speaks normal the whole. Or
no. No. You know what? I thought of something. Why not just have Knuckles and his tribe, like have one of his homeboys come with him, slide through, and he has the accent, but Knuckles doesn't. So yeah,
I think that would be more racist.
I don't think, but I also think dropping it randomly would be like, what the fuck?
He's that random guy is the only one in the tribe that speaks. Everyone else has like an American accent, and then you have the one guy.
I would like to see it. That's it.
I think part of the reason why I wanted I like two big reasons why I didn't want them to change it was, one, when I saw how awful it looked, I'm like, great, because now I know exactly where this movie was gonna fall. Because like if they fixed it, like if they made the CGI good, then I was no longer sure what this movie was gonna be. Because like I think I forgot who said this, but it might have been Matt from Two Best Friends Play, but he said that he likes a movie that is a 0 or a 10. There's nothing worse than a movie that's a 6 out of 10, because you want the movie to either be fucking stellar or you want it to be shit, whereas just middling.
I disagree.
I think I'm coming at it from the angle where a movie is more memorable if it's really, really good, or if it's really really bad. Whereas
Totally.
if it's just
No, yeah,
or
I
if
see
it's just like then like we get so many movies that come out that you hardly remember them, you know. Like,
Yeah.
but then you have like really really good movies that people still talk about, and then you have really really shit movies that people still talk about. There's a reason why 10 plus years later, and Tommy Wiseau is still like hosting the room showings in theaters because that movie fucking sucks. But people will come out and drive to go see it with the guy that made it and be like, I made a film. And it's like, yeah, you sure did, buddy.
Go see my movie.
Go see my movie, you know?
That's a good point, though. I'm not gonna say it's a wrong point. I mean, I just see the because it's something I probably would have never thought about. The fact that you brought that was just like, yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, like, because those are the most memorable movies, you know, like the ones that are really fucking terrible or the ones that are like Jesus Christ. Those are the memorable movies. You're definitely right in saying that, and that's why it's not wrong. It's Sonic, and it's just like, I don't want it to be that. That's the only thing. It's like, if the first movie is just okay, at least we have a chance of making the next movie like better. That's it. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, and the fact that we know that there's gonna be a second movie, I'm hyped up for it. I know all the people are hyped up for it. When I went to go see it with Steph, we were sitting next to like a family. And there's these kids, like they were like, I think like 3-4 years old, and I was like, these motherfuckers don't know shit about like Sonic and like OG Sonic.
You don't have a Genesis.
Yeah, you don't fucking own the original Sonic Adventure on CD. You don't buy the Sonic CD itself. Like, you don't. Come on. But they came in with like a Knuckles toy and a Sonic toy, and like they were both fighting like, this is a better character, and I was like, damn, okay.
Oh, this is the way.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, that's Eggman, Dad, and I was like, these little kids, okay, y'all smart, but
I'm watching a movie.
Yeah, I was like, shut the fuck no. This is my fucking movie.
This is for me, not for you.
This is for me, my 23-year-old self. But
that was all the 30-year-olds going to see the new Star Wars movies.
Oh god, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to follow up. I don't know. Yeah, like the people being like, "Shut your." That's not. And I'm like, okay, can we like at least enjoy the movie, bro? Like, the original Star Wars is the original Star Wars. We get it, but bro, chill, please, just for a second. Shut the fuck up. Yeah. But yeah, so they are announcing a second Sonic movie. It's happening. I'm kind of excited all about it, only because Ben Schwartz actually was really fun too. Like, the way he voiced Sonic felt like he used some sort of tone voice. Like, he didn't really change his voice that much, so it wasn't really. I mean, it's fucking Ben Schwartz, but
that sound like Sonic.
Yeah. But, you know, he wasn't bad. There was a few things that I kind of was just like, okay, I guess that's just the movie version. But there was generally everything was pretty on beat Sonic, and that's what, you know, that's what we at the core of it. That's what it was, and so that makes me want a Legend of Zelda movie. I know you give that face, but I swear listen, man. If fucking the Lord of the Rings exists, why wouldn't Zelda be possible? Like,
because I'll give you one reason.
Okay, give me the reason.
Your main character is Link. Think about it for a second. If think about like the Legend of Zelda games for a second, like, where it's mostly like you're alone on a quest by yourself, right? When does Link ever talk? When does Link ever talk? He does not. Which means if you're gonna have a movie, and it's gotta have dialogue in it because your main character cannot be the silent protagonist. He's either gonna talk, which I don't want, or he's gonna have an ensemble of characters around him.
Fuck, I didn't think that went through.
I know. I'm sorry to just crush it. Like
you
there
did.
There was like talks of a. There was like talks of like a Zelda Netflix series. I don't know if that was ever real, but like I think.
Oh yeah.
More, like if it was more in the style of like the Witcher series, where Link wanders into town and like he solves this problem, and like or actually like kind of like the first episode of The Mandalorian, where he walks into town and like he solves the problem and then he leaves, and you could have an episode of a TV show where like all the other characters are talking around him, but I don't know if people would actually sit through a whole movie where the characters don't talk, because even like I think the closest thing that I could ever see where the main characters of a movie don't talk was WALL-E, and even then you still had people towards the end start to talk. And I watched that recently, and actually a good portion of that movie is just WALL-E chirping around, which I was really like, because I remember that movie being like halfway through, the humans just start showing up and talking, and I'm like, get
fuck the humans.
Get off the screen. But actually it's like more like 2/3 of the movie is WALL-E and Eve just like hanging out and like retrieving the plant. But
I think that's probably why. Okay, here's my pitch. Okay, hear me out just for 1 second, for 1 minute. Here's my Legend of Zelda movie pitch. I know the video probably stopped in my phone, but so have you seen Mad Max? Like any of the Mad Max movies? Okay, so Max himself doesn't really talk that much either. It's mainly the world he encounters and is not living in, but like in at that moment that sort of Furiosa comes in. All these characters come in. I think you can have a similar situation with Link, because a lot of it is world establishing. Make the world. It's gonna be a lot of CGI, but make the world be the star and have these other characters. Like Link could just not talk that much, but he could be helping, let's say, like a villager family or like something on his quest, on his overall quest, and that could be like a possible film. But it is difficult though, because it's like you said before, but it's just. Well, I think it could be a thing. It's just it's gonna need like an actual like auteur director, like an artiste, like a fucking visionary director to like make it be like, yeah, this character doesn't talk that much, but this is my movie. Because I think if it's like an action adventure movie, I think it could possibly be not bad. I mean, like I would like to see it.
The Legend of Zelda, directed by Wes Anderson.
Oh fuck. I don't know if I'm ready for that one.
You just have the screen, just like not talking. It's all yellow in the background, and he's not talking. No, but like if you again, like,
I was thinking more like Denis Villeneuve, but Wes Anderson, fuck.
That's all you get. Like he's the only one available.
We gotta get Wes. Fuck, it's just Wes.
We gotta get Wes. But if you're gonna have the Zelda movie, it's either gonna be Link either talks the whole time, or you're gonna have to have the ensemble around him, and it's gonna be Link and the Linkettes basically. Just
but not if they.
Him.
I guess, but not if they establish like a character that could be more than just like could have that emotional link, unironically, to Link that could sort of make the movie go. That is a positive. Well, I'm thinking Zelda has to show up like at the no. Stephanie's turning down my theory right now.
Well, the thing is, the games already have that. Like, the only game that doesn't have that is Breath of the Wild. But every single Zelda game has the silent protagonist, and there's something around you that is like your NPC that basically talks. You had Navi in Ocarina. You had the sword in Skyward Sword, you had Midna. So there is always that one character that is around Link to do the talking for him, but I don't know if that one character talking to a silent protagonist is enough to carry a plot that runs over the course of 2 hours. You know.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because then you're gonna have to cut to Ganondorf just like terrorizing Zelda every once in a while, and it's like,
This is true.
You know.
I was just hopeful because I know a lot of people are
Netflix series of The Legend of Zelda, maybe.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I would not be opposed if they did a Legend of Zelda Netflix series. I would not be upset at all. I just think about all these possible games that could be seen as movies now with Sonic opening the door, because a lot of people were like, oh shit, like this is one added to the list of good video game movies. It's possible.
How many other movies are on that list?
Not that fucking many, but it's there. That's what matters.
The reason why I'm so apprehensive to adaptations like that is because Hollywood has a tendency to test screen, and it's got to go with whatever the audience results say instead of like being true to what the movie actually should be. The reason Sonic the Hedgehog is not based on any game; it's just its own story. That's fine.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the same thing with Detective Pikachu, where like that's not exactly based on a game. Like there is a game called Detective Pikachu, but it's its own plot. But more often than not, whenever you have a movie that's based on a franchise or a property that is not a live action Hollywood movie, it usually turns out kind of like Ghost in the Shell, like Speed Racer. Like,
wait. Before Speed Racer was not terrible. If you
have to call right now,
it was not bad. It was not that bad. We can agree to disagree, but I thought it was for what it was. I mean, Speed Racer itself, like, there's not, I
mean, Speed Racer is like kind of hokey, but it's kind of like,
So what are you gonna?
The next one on my list was The Last Airbender, and then Dragon Ball Evolution, and that one hurts you. I know. I don't even have to ask you. I already know it hurts.
That one, not just me, bro. The moment you say that, a universal, whoever's listening to this, that's a Dragon Ball, a universal groan. Everybody fucking hates that movie, bro. It's just like you can't speak about M. Night Shyamalan's The Last Airbender to anybody. It's just, or they'll leave the room. But I think
my favorite part. The Last Airbender got put on Netflix, and Netflix will have like a little trailer if you're like hovering over.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Like what the?
On like on Netflix, when you hover the icon to a movie, it'll play like a trailer in the corner. Mm-hmm. If you hover over The Last Airbender, the clip that it plays is the one clip that everyone talks about, where you have like the five earthbenders doing their giant like haka basically, and then they do this giant ha, and then like a tiny pebble floats from one side of the screen to the next because that thing was shot wrong.
That whole movie was shot wrong.
I mean, it is. It was cast wrong. It was everything. All the names were pronounced
written wrong.
Every single thing.
Yeah, it was all wrong. That movie shouldn't have happened. Yeah.
Don't watch it.
But
anyone within the sound of my voice, don't watch it.
But I just mean like the two after that was just my thought. Is like after Sonic, the two properties I would like to see either in Netflix or film is The Legend of Zelda. I just want to see it. I just want just fuck. And then Metroid. I don't know why, but I feel like Metroid would be fucking dope as a cinematic film. Like the amount of shots you could possibly make of space and it'd be fucking sick. That one, that just to me, I think of so many directors that could possibly make that shit dope. It just
see Metroid works because Samus talks.
Yeah, I mean, it works better than Yeah.
Also, Metroid itself is based off of Alien. So you already have that. You already have that establishing of the character in the movie setting.
Which I actually didn't know until like later on when I played like this. I forget which one I played. Where I looked it up and it said inspired, and I was just like, what the fuck? Why didn't I not know this? Like, what the fuck? I love that movie.
Ripley was based off of
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, fucking obvious. Yeah, but yeah. So I think that one would be fucking
I'd watch a Metroid movie. I mean, they're not making any fucking games anytime soon.
I mean, they will eventually. They're working on it. I don't know what's taking them so long. They were going to announce something, but like
they started over.
That's the thing. They don't want to release it unless it's like the way they exactly want it. But it's
like they announced Metroid Prime 4, and then I think a year or two later, they had a guy come out and be like, "Listen, we had to start over. Sorry, please understand." And then they have not spoken up about it again since.
Yeah.
But I think the people that are making it were the people who were in charge of Metroid Prime originally, which is a Retro Studios. So at the very least, it's going to the people that made the original Metroid Prime games. So I trust it, and the fact that they're starting over, and the fact that they're willing to start over and have the actual guys work on it, gives me a little bit of faith in it. But it's just like I just want to play it right now. So
yeah, same. I really want that fucking game to come out. I never realized how much I miss Metroid until like they announced Metroid, the new Metroid game, and then I was like, holy shit, I fucking missed this. Like, I'm just like, dude, this fucking game was bananas, and I just fucking miss it.
Do you play the Prime series or like the original Metroid series, like the 2D ones?
Well, I played. The Prime series is not bad, but the 2D ones for me.
That's where you go to.
Gold, bro. I don't know what it was about it, but the side scroll, it was fun. It was a good time. It was something different. Like it felt like familiar, but also like completely unique in a weird way. And like the character, there was the character of like Samus is so fucking interesting to me. Like I fucking love that character. And then I don't know what it is. It's just, she seems so fucking badass, but also so different, but also so ambiguous, but also so like there's so much there with her that I'm just like, fuck, dude. Like if there's just so many layers to it that I'm just like, if I start talking about it now, I keep thinking about like, oh fuck, I gotta go play the game again, but I don't have my fucking Game Boy.
I think just to tide you over, there is a game that came out recently called Hollow Knight, which came out. I've been playing it a little while ago. Hollow Knight is excellent. It is like the best interpretation of like a Metroid send-up that it could possibly be. Also, it's got the same amount of. It's like the lore of. I really do not want to call it like the Dark Souls of Metroid because I absolutely hate that comparison. But it is that's exactly what it is. Where it's kind of like a grim, dark version of like the Metroid formula on a 2D side scroller, and it just plays really well.
You know, now that you mention it, I do remember some of the levels and some of the areas in the levels that did feel Metroid-esque. Like, you know, like you were like in space and like, or just like in general, like it felt very like the way Metroid's backgrounds were. It felt like that. So I do definitely know what you mean by that, and it's very interesting. Like the thing about side-scrolling games is like they're fun, and I don't see why we kind of abandoned it and like left it and been like, well, here's 3D, and it's like 3D's cool, but side-scrolling is not terrible. Like there's nothing wrong with side-scrolling. Like side-scrolling's fun. Like, but
there's a lot.
Well, Mario still fucking exists in side-scrolling. So it's like
there's a lot more indie devs coming out with side-scrolling games, and lots of interesting games that are coming out with side scrollers. So like you got like Hollow Knight, you got like Shovel Knight, you know, like all those guys that put their games up on Kickstarter and whatnot. Like they pretty excellent games, you know, and side scrollers still exist. It's just that the focus these days are on the bigger budget, like the quadruple A games.
Yeah, so. Which you know, makes sense. I mean, like that Did you see the new trailer for the new Assassin's Creed game?
Unfortunately.
It was pretty underwhelming. Look, it was pretty underwhelming, but they only showed like
I have a tepid history with the Assassin's Creed game.
Wait, why? But don't you love Assassin's Creed? I'm confused now.
That's the thing, is like I love Assassin's Creed. It's just that every single time they try to. Here's the thing: when that trailer came out for Valhalla, I was like all for it. But then as soon as the guy shoved a hidden blade in that guy's face, I was like, oh, it's an Assassin's Creed game. It could have just been a Viking game, but they had to shoehorn in the Assassin's Creed story in it. Because like this team, ever since they abandoned the overarching modern day setting, I just kind of went, okay, just go historical. The best parts of like Black Flag is a game I never stop talking about. The best part of Black Flag is when it doesn't talk about the Assassin's Creed shit. Because as soon as Edward Kenway starts talking about I gotta talk to the ones who came before, and I'm like, can you not? Like, just go back to the pirating shit, because it is a pirating game. And then now with Valhalla, I'm sure it's gonna be a good game and it's gonna play really, really well. But like, you complete a mission and then the game will pull you out and be like, "Hi, it's me. I'm Layla from the modern day," and I don't know how much I care about the modern day at this point. They kind of screwed the pooch on it a little bit, but I'm playing through Odyssey very slowly, but like it's pretty. I really like the way it plays, and I'm excited for Valhalla. Mm-hmm. But I really wish that it was not an Assassin's Creed game.
That's interesting that you said that, because there are some people that probably do enjoy like that little minute, little shove in there of the original. But it is interesting that like making a game like that, not focusing on that and just letting it be what it needs to be, sort of is the way to go. Because like, you will get like original people, but that game is not gonna like go away. Like that's the thing. Is like if you keep shoving something down people's, like, it's not like, it's still there. Like, but this is a different time period. So that I never played Odyssey and I haven't played Black Flag, so I haven't seen them do that, because I only played like I think like the first two. So I haven't followed up, so I don't know that much. So that's why I can't really speak. But this Valhalla one, the only reason is I fuck Vikings, dude. Like, fuck it. Like, you got me with Vikings.
That's the cool part. The cool part is that it's like a Viking game, right? And yeah. I'm not saying that that's not the cool part, because it 100% is the fact that you get a Viking game. That's the best part. My problem is that compared to the old Assassin's Creed games, the overarching story of the up until Desmond, up until like the end of that Desmond arc, the story felt like a lot more cohesive. Whereas this time it felt like, you notice they stopped numbering the games as well, like after Black Flag, because the stories just feel very disjointed, and you can kind of tell they really wanted to focus more on the historical aspect of it as opposed to the actual, the modern day story of it, because you have like you have Black Flag, which is barely an Assassin's Creed game. You have Odyssey, which does not even have, no one's wearing a hood, no one has a hidden blade. It's just a game that takes place in Rome, or Greece. That's all it is, and that's all. If you could have just had like a Greek game, you could have just had like a Viking game, and that aspect of it will always be cool, because this team knows exactly what they're doing in terms of like historical setting and like visual design and like gameplay. Like they're pretty good at it. But one of my main draws for Assassin's Creed was the hidden, like the glyph shit. Like I remember playing. I remember playing Brotherhood, and like you do like the little Subject 16 puzzles, and it's like, this shit is, it's like so cryptic. Like you do one of the puzzles, and the screen just shows up, and it's just a picture of Jesus Christ, and it just tells you to go. And I'm like, what am I looking for? And the game just like, go. It's kind of like mysterious in that way. And it felt like there was like something it felt like you were actually trying to uncover something. Whereas after they closed off that section of the modern day arc, they kind of didn't know what they were doing for a little bit, and they started it back up. So they have a new protagonist in the modern day, but I'm just not as connected to it.
So then would you? That's interesting, because then that makes me wonder, or like want to ask the question of like, so then should the team? Because hearing you explain it makes me think the team who's behind the game should literally just be like, okay, we should just drop the Assassin's Creed off of the top and just call it Black Flag, and then if we want to go back to that game, we can always go back and follow that story. Because it seems like if you're just gonna make a game about a different world, like, why do you need the Assassin's Creed like title, other than you need to sell fucking copies? But
that's exactly what it is. It's like the Assassin's Creed name sells, and you can tell that because I think it was one of the new ones, Origins, Odyssey, or Valhalla. One of them was gonna release under the title Assassin's Creed Stories, Odyssey, or something like that, or Assassin's Creed Stories, Ragnarok, or something like that, where they were gonna turn it into like a subtitle, and then or Assassin's Creed Anthology or something like that, and they were gonna have like, it's gonna be this game taking place in this historical setting, but because they needed the Assassin's Creed name in there, that's how they're gonna market it, and I wish they had the courage. I wish they had the balls to just release it as Valhalla, because
that seems like the move. That seems like you should just fucking do that. Like, that seems like what you like. Why not just put at the top of the trailer, like, made by the people who made Assassin's Creed? Like, people will be like, what the fuck is this? But they don't think I don't. That kind of infuriates me a little bit, because
they also did the mistake of like going too meta in it, because the modern day setting in Black Flag is you are an employee of Abstergo playing Black Flag, and I'm like,
yeah,
and at some point it becomes too like, all right, I get it, it's a video game, so just come out with a video. I don't know why you have to like sniff your own farts and just like, you have to like put it under so much like disguise. Just like come out with like the Viking game. I'll buy your Viking game, because it's Ubisoft, like you already know what the game's gonna be.
Yeah. Huh. That kind of seems frustrating now. Having to talk to you about it, it's just like, I get it now.
I'm sure if you play Valhalla, it's gonna be a Viking game, and every once in a while they'll mention something about Assassin's Creed in it, and it'll be a good game.
Oh yeah, and I'm not saying the games suck in that. It's like the gameplay aspect or whatever. It just seems like the creative team wants to make these types of games, but doesn't know how to without leaving the Assassin's Creed umbrella, which is like, just fucking jump over the cliff, bro. Like, talk to, like, I don't know. It just seems like if the team can like make it, and it's gonna be look good either way. Like, I don't know. Like, Assassin's Creed's not gonna go away. You could always drop that back and come back to it. Like, it's not gonna go away. You could always follow up the story, right? Like, it doesn't seem like impossible for that to be like the case. Because now then they're kind of falling under that whole like Call of Duty this, Call of Duty that, Call of Duty this, where it's like, I don't want that, And it's just like, that's frustrating.
I mean, at least it's no longer like a yearly title like it was before, and that's the reason why the games kind of got burnt out a little bit. Was that a new one was coming out every single year for like forever, and I'm glad that they took a break from that and they came out with an entirely different game. But I kind of wish that they just like, gave it a proper conclusion, and then the next game just have it be its own thing. I guess is what I'm trying to get at. Like, if the modern day is really, really good, then by all means try your best. But I think that at this point, I would much rather play as the assassin that you want me to play as, especially now that they're introducing a lot of like RPG elements where like you customize your own character.
Mm.
I feel like it's becoming less and less about the modern day and more about just here we're gonna dump you in this historical setting, just go play that, see how that story plays out.
Yeah. Huh. Hmm. Well.
But that's what I got for that.
Yeah.
I await. I am waiting nervously or cautiously rather.
I'm hopeful for it only because I feel like it's not going to be a bad game, but I do feel like it might fall under that same category that we just talked about. Well, inevitably, I think because of just the nature of the previous games. But I'm just, I'm excited for it. It's Vikings. Fuck shit up. But
it looked cool. It looked cool.
We shall see.
Cool. And I enjoy the fact that they're actually bringing back the Hidden Blade. So that's cool because the Hidden Blade is an iconic weapon. Mm-hmm. So that's cool.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes.
We'll see where it goes.
Well, yeah.
Mm.
I don't know what else to add to that. But let's see. I would talk about I think those are my main two things I wanted to talk about. We kind of touched on them, but anything you want to talk about? Anything specific that's rumbling in your mind?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought you want to talk about the Rise of Skywalker a little bit.
Oh shoot! Let's rise that conversation up. I mean that movie, man. When that movie came out, I was before it came out. Before it came out, I was actually kind of lightweight looking forward to it a little bit. I was disappointed in the two movies before. I don't know how you feel about the two movies before that one. I know lightweight how you felt about The Last Jedi only because we talked about it right after the movie was over.
Yeah.
But and I know you enjoyed The Force Awakens, right?
I liked The Force Awakens because it did what it's supposed to be, which was it was supposed to be a soft reboot. It's supposed to introduce these characters, and at the very end of the day, everyone kind of berated it because like it's just a New Hope all over again. I'm like, but you guys like the New Hope, so it's a reintroduction.
That's a fair point.
Think about the fact that there hasn't been a good Star Wars movie that's come out since the original trilogy, or at the very least a popular Star Wars movie hasn't come out since that original trilogy. So of course it's gonna try to copy the good ones and introduce it in a way where it kind of just tweaks a little bit, And I like the changes that it made. It's not exactly 100% a carbon copy of A New Hope, but the things that it did do the same were all of my favorite parts of A New Hope. I think the main flaw isn't exactly in The Rise of Skywalker. I think it's just that they didn't set up the trilogy like they did before. Like they didn't have a plan.
Yeah, I think they had one plan, and then the plan kind of went this way, and then it kind of went that way. Bump, 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 bump. Well, yeah, okay. The general plan. If we talk about like that, then yes. The studio, like Abe, whoever what's her face? I don't know who's running.
Kennedy.
Yeah, her. She clearly wanted that, but I mean, I know for J.J. Abrams there was like a plan for him. The only thing is, you hired Rian Johnson, not J.J. to come back.
Well, no. So here's the story. J.J. Abrams did not want to do the Star Wars movie. He was very comfortable doing the Star Trek movies because he was a Star Wars fan.
Okay.
And that sounds shitty, but from his perspective, he's like, "Look, I really like Star Wars. I don't want to be the guy that fucks up Star Wars." So he was really, really worried about that. But when he was like, "Look, we saw what you did with the Star Trek movies. Like, do the same thing with Star Wars. Like, you can do it." So he came out with The Force Awakens, which was a very, very safe, very, very cautious Star Wars movie. It's like, hey, here's my new characters. I hope you like them. And it's like, like it was a good movie. And he said, well, I'll just throw this in, like, oh, she has like visions of like the lightsaber, and she has like her parents abandoned her. That's something that could be done. We introduced the Knights of Ren a little bit. That's another opening right there. She meets Luke at the very very end. That's something else that you could do with it. But the problem is that he didn't have a plan for another two movies. He came out with those two. He came out with The Force Awakens. He left all those open endings for whoever's gonna take over, because he did not want to do another Star Wars movie. He said, "I'm gonna do this one. Whoever you guys get for the next one, I left them some openings. They can choose to do whatever with it that they want. But here's what I've set up. I gave you guys something to start. Just run with it." The problem, you're right. The problem is that they hired Rian Johnson, who said, "Nah." And the first scene literally is Luke throwing away the lightsaber.
Yeah.
But I feel like if they followed up on that and just kind of ran with it instead of trying to retcon literally every single thing that happens in The Last Jedi, I feel like they could have gotten something a bit more cohesive. But yeah, I actually, when you said you're gonna start the call at 5 o'clock, that gave me enough time to actually finish out, because I was just watching The Rise of Skywalker to just refresh my memory a little bit. I was keeping track of like my thoughts during the movie, and like there's so many, especially during the very beginning. Hold on, let me pull this up real quick. It's like second one. I think I already had a problem. Oh, during the opening title crawl, when there's like the dead speak, and then it's talking about how Palpatine is just sending out a broadcast, it's like, "I'm alive, bitches," and it's like, why are they doing that? There's so many things wrong with the movie that I can't begin to explain why I hate it.
Yeah. From the get-go, the moment it started, there was this gut feeling I had when we sat down and it started. At first I was like, it might be good, but there was this gut feeling. I literally, because I know Steph was excited, so I didn't want to say shit. I was like, we're going to watch this. But I knew in my head, I had this gut feeling. I was like, this fucking movie's going to blow.
You knew.
Because I was like, dude. And then the scenes that followed up, I was just like, bro, come on, what are you doing? Like, what's so hard about making a cohesive movie? Like, that's the biggest scene I had was like, listen, The Last Jedi exists. Why do we have to act like it didn't? Like, there's so many important scenes in The Last Jedi, regardless of how you feel about it. Why ignore that? And why just go in with this random thing? And let's go back to this. Let's go back to that, because I did it in The Force Awakens. No, motherfucker. There was a movie before yours that fucking has value. Whether people liked it or not, it has value. Because it moved the story forward. It did things for the story. Whether they were good or bad, that's up for debate, but it did do things. And for J.J. Abrams to just be like, fuck that. It's just, I was like, why, like, the story you just told me about his backstory about how he didn't want to do Star Wars, that just pisses me off even more, because I'm just like, then why the fuck did you leave it open-ended for somebody to fuck it? Why would you be upset? It's just like,
I feel like the dissonance between the Star Wars franchise and the Marvel Cinematic Universe happening right next door at Disney. The fact that Kevin Feige is over here planning out his ending 22 movies in advance.
They're popping champagne probably.
Whereas you have Star Wars here. You have a known brand. You have a brand that has a following that's been going on for like 40 years at this point. Like, you have these people who are so excited to see Star Wars come back to screens, and you're just like, we'll just see how it plays out. We'll do this one, and then we'll see it. We'll see what people like about it, and then we'll just make the movie. Instead of having a plan, like, your plan only needs to last 3 movies, and they couldn't even do that.
Legit.
They were trying to play it by ear.
Bro, legit, you said it right there. All you needed was 3 movies. 3 fucking movies. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is a span of collection, and all you needed was 3. 3, like, Bro, that's why I was so upset too, because I was like, I can pinpoint things I don't like about The Force Awakens, but at the end of the day, it's enjoyable. I can pinpoint things about The Last Jedi, and I slept through some of it, because it's just... Well, I don't know if you were there, but I don't know if you turned... I was sleeping, bro.
No, I wasn't, no.
Bro, that whole thing with Finn, and, like, I don't know what... I slept, so I don't know what the fuck happened. But apparently, like, Finn did something. Whatever. Finn's story in The Last Jedi.
For you, it doesn't matter because The Rise of Skywalker just retconned everything in that movie anyway. So you don't need to watch that movie.
And then Poe wasn't even like Poe was important, I guess, in The Last Jedi. But what the fuck did he do other than follow the orders of Leia? And then apparently, I'm supposed to think he's this fucking amazing person in the last Skywalker, The Rise of Skywalker. I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry. I really don't give a fuck about him and this chick that he used to be friends. Who the fuck is this chick? Why should I give a fuck about her?
J.J. Abrams' friend. She's friends with J.J. Abrams. And
the little guy.
She was like, hey. The little guy? Oh. Yeah, well, what is it? She went up to J.J. Abrams and he was like, hey, J.J., I
need a roll.
I'm hungry. And J.J. Abrams was like, I'll feed you.
I got you.
I got you. Here, go get yourself something nice.
Get you some of that Star Wars money.
Just exactly.
Oh man.
She only shows her face once.
Once?
She only shows her face the one time.
Once. You're 100% right. Once. And at that point, I'm like, put that fucking face mask back on. I don't give a fuck. But like at that point, I'm like, why? What you're not doing anything anyways. Like other than be like, yes, we're with you, Avengers, go. Oh wait, I mean Star Wars. Like, like it was just like what? And my biggest upset with the whole series as a whole is I think they fucking dropped the ball with who the main character is. I know that they wanted Rey to be the main character. But they clearly didn't know what the fuck they wanted with her. And that was such a disservice to the actress, Daisy Ridley. Because she's doing her fucking job, and you give her such a shitty story arc. Like, her hero's journey is fucked. There's no heroes... Like, her hero's journey starts in The Force Awakens, right? In The Last Jedi, where the fuck... She's Like, it's Kylo's movie. The Last Jedi is Kylo's movie. Where's her hero's journey non-existent? And then you go back to The Rise of Skywalker and you want me to follow her hero's journey? I fucking forgot what her point was, other than trying to be a Jedi. Like, what the fuck? And then at the end, I'm supposed to feel something? I felt more for Kylo because I was like, you know what? At the end of that when it was all said and done, I left and I was like, this motherfucker should have been the main character. They should have done a reverse hero's journey and made Kylo the main character because they knew exactly what to do with him. They fucked Rey's shit up. I felt bad for her. Every time I watch these movies, I feel bad for her. I'm like, give my girl some work. What the fuck? I'm just bro.
I mean, I love Daisy Ridley. That's my wife. They ruined her character. Like, there's so many different aspects. Like every single time something happened in the movie, I had to like pause it, write it down, up until I stopped giving a shit towards the end. So like there's more shit in the beginning that I wrote down as opposed to towards the end, because towards the end of the movie I just stopped giving a shit. There was like too many things happening. There's too many shit compounding on each other that I just I can't keep up with.
The snake.
But I mean like I can't handle like the how look how they massacred my movie franchise. Which, first of all, the fact that they were advertising it as the end of a 9-story trilogy, or like a 9-story saga, I was
right?
Like, since when did you decide that this was gonna be the conclusion to the Skywalker saga? Like, there was
without a Skywalker. Yeah,
there was no Skywalker saga. It's just, they needed a way to sell the movie, and I'm just like...
But that's what makes me frustrated too, because that whole motto, that whole thing makes me even more pissed, because I'm like, why was no one there that's like, listen, if this is going to be a Skywalker movie, then fuck it, let's give them a revert, like, let's just make Kylo because he's the only he's the only one that has like a compelling story that's like, oh shit, like at the end I saw that coming from 2 movies away. But either way, it was still good. It was still better than what they did with Rey. Rey just decides to be a Skywalker. Nah, fam. That's not what we like. We don't like that shit here. Bro, it's about family. The whole thing was about family. And now you just gonna decide, I'm a part of this family. But you don't even know the family that much. You was with Leia for 1 scene. Like,
I think also the fact that Rian Johnson killed Luke in the second movie, and then Carrie Fisher passed away before they could film the third one, really altered their plans a lot. Because there's that bit where like Leia just like gives up and dies, and calls out Ben, and it's like, and then Han Solo shows up.
Fucking hated that Martha moment. Fucking hated.
I think someone pointed out that like, it was supposed to be Leia that's supposed to call out to him, and like I kind of agree with that opinion, where like I think they were planning on putting Leia in that spot to go call back Ben Solo.
Yeah.
But because they couldn't film any new scenes with her, they got Harrison Ford to come back and do it.
Which, listen, I'm not going to complain about, only because of the circumstances. They did establish that Kylo did have sort of something there with his dad, where it was kind of like unspoken. You kind of can just notice that even though he killed him, there was this thing there, you know, like that's why he's so fucking mentally unstable. Like there's just something there also. And so I wasn't mad at it. The one thing is like, though, I was just like, you can't just let Leia give up. That's just not her character, you know, like it's just give her a better something. I don't know. I was just like, it just
conclusion. Well, the thing was, I think that, you know,
she's too
strong. In the first movie, his dad tries it, fails. So the next time that would try it would be his mom. Or sorry, after his dad tries it, fails. Luke tries it, fails, and then you get Leia. And
which makes sense.
Leia's supposed to be the one that succeeds, but because the circumstances, she passed away. They couldn't film new scenes with her. I understand why they had to do that. So that's not what I'm knocking the movie on. What I'm knocking the movie on is like they decided to try that plot anyway, despite the fact that they couldn't do it. They said, "Well, I'm sure people won't notice." I'm like, "No, I noticed.
We both noticed." Like,
I don't know. I feel like that they were trying to do too many things. Which, first of all, they were trying really hard to retcon everything in The Last Jedi.
That seemed like that was step 1 of whatever J.J. Abrams wanted to do. That seemed like his prerogative. Because I was like, this is anti The Last Jedi, and I don't know how I feel about it.
Think about all the most important scenes that happen in The Last Jedi, and there is a different and opposite reaction in The Rise of Skywalker. There's the very first scene of The Last Jedi where like Rey hands the lightsaber to Luke, and Luke just like tosses it away. There's a scene in The Rise of Jedi where like Rey is trying to burn the lightsaber, and Luke is like, "This is the most important weapon. This is the most important thing in the entire world. Like, you know, you should handle it with more respect." I think the line was like, "A Jedi weapon should be treated with more respect than this," or something like that, right?
Yeah. Which makes his character only feel hypocritical, and it ruins his sort of mentor thing that he was.
Luke Skywalker. Definitely.
Well, also I could see what Rian Johnson was trying to do when he was like, "Listen, Luke's gonna teach Rey like this because this is now how Luke is, because he was secluded and he decided to seclude himself. So this is how he feels about it." So I got it, but for you to be like, "Well, that was him before. Now he's like, you gotta respect the fuck out of this." I'm just like, no. Well, then that whole point of there's a whole training montage. That whole movie is gone then, just with that. And I'm just like, the Rey's whole training then is fucking mute. Like, what the fuck? That's legit.
There's a difference between a subversion of expectations and not knowing what you're doing with the movie and making shit up as you go.
Yeah.
And I think that Rian Johnson just didn't have any idea what he wanted to do. He left no doors open. I mean, he left one door open, which is probably the most interesting part, is the fact that they were trying to end the Jedi and Sith, and like we're gonna be like this kind of middle ground, and like that could have been I mean, as far as someone trying to establish an ending where the ending could possibly be where this Jedi and Sith are no longer a thing.
Mm.
It's just everything is just a kind of a gray point, right? That makes sense to me, but because they didn't communicate that with anyone, then and they didn't have a plan as to how they wanted the trilogy to end, then it just ends up falling apart as a result. There's so many different things. One of the other aspects is the fact that a Rose exists in The Last Jedi, and in The Rise of Skywalker, I counted how many lines she had. She had like 7 or 8.
7? I thought it was just one, but
She shows up once or twice, and every single time there's an opportunity for her to do something, either her or someone else tells her no. Like in the very beginning when they were about to go on their adventure, Finn is like, "Are you sure you don't want to come with us?" And Rose was like, "Nah, I'm just gonna stay here." And then at the very end of the movie, where Rose is like, "I'll go with you," and Finn's like, "No, it's too dangerous. Stay here." I felt really bad for her because out of all the characters, she's the only one that got excluded, and she's the only new kid that got introduced by Ryan Johnson that got nothing. So I feel really bad for Kelly Marie, and I wish that they had written it differently where she got like something, but so her entire character is like nullified. Poe's main story arc in The Last Jedi was the fact that he was acting too impulsively, and so he needed to take a more measured approach and trust in the plan. In The Rise of Skywalker, every single time he tried to trust in the plan and take a measured take on the situation at hand, everyone called him a dumb nerd and tried to act impulsively, and then that worked out. So his entire story arc in The Last Jedi is also nullified because the lesson that he learned apparently was useless.
yeah, and the interesting thing about him in The Last Jedi is in The Force Awakens, I felt like I'm like, okay, this is your Han Solo. I see it now. In The Last Jedi, I was like, oh, he's different. He's not like him. He's different. He's a different character. And then in The Rise of Skywalker, we're like, no, that's him. This is the Han Solo take like, that's him. That's the void he's filling. And I'm just like, but this was more interesting than this. Even though this was a different thing, a different spin, it still was more interesting to me because I'm like, I don't want a Han Solo stand in. I want an interesting person who's making impulsive decisions because he's fucking like and you're right, like he was supposed to be.
I'm really wondering about what the movie could have been if J.J. Abrams did the whole trilogy, because like the way
Probably
he set
better.
the characters, the way that he set the characters were like different. Where like he was really setting up Rey to be the successor to Han Solo, like where he was like, hey, if you want to get out of Jakku, like I do need a co-pilot, like, she was gonna be under his wing, and she still has the same the blaster that Han Solo gave her from the first movie, like she still has that, as kind of like a callback, as like, she was supposed to be that Han Solo analog, and I feel like Finn got robbed as well in The Rise of Skywalker, because his whole story arc in The Force Awakens was that he was a stormtrooper that saw the horrors of war, so he ran away. And then in The Rise of Skywalker, they're just blasting stormtroopers left and right, like, fuck these people, who cares? Never mind the fact that a lot of these people were conscripted outside of their free will. Some of them were taken as children to be soldiers. Fuck them. And then, just to put the icing on the cake, Finn's whole thing of like, oh, I'm a stormtrooper and I defected, and that was his unique character trait. Mm-hmm. He meets up with an entire village of like stormtroopers that defected, that saw the same horrors of war that he did, and they all decided, oh yeah, we're gonna defect. We're gonna take your character development, and we're gonna build our own little community.
That's ours now.
It's ours now. And the fact
gosh.
that they just kind of brushed that off and just kind of went like, it's kind of a waste of a character. So like now you have all these characters that have no potential growth, and then now you want me to sit through a 2.5 hour movie and try to understand what their character motivations are at this point. I don't know, like it's a mess. Well,
following it up with Finn, what you brought up was exactly what happened. It's just like the thing with him that frustrates me also is you can clearly see there was an end for Rey. There's an end for Kylo. Their relationship was pivotal. Finn, there's no fucking end. Where the fuck is the end for him? And he was, mind you, this guy was a poster. He had his own poster. How the fuck you gonna do my boy like that? Like, why not make him also use the Force? Like, clearly he could use the wield the, like, what?
Well, I think he was supposed to be the Leia analog, where he's supposed to be the,
well, they dropped that shit.
And he's supposed to be Force sensitive, and they kind of do allude to that in The Rise of Skywalker a little bit, where he goes, I have a feeling, and it's just like, okay, but...
And I hate the fact that they did that, because that feeling, the whole time we were like, what the fuck is your feeling? Are you feeling for Rose? Are you feeling for Poe? Are you feeling because you're Force sensitive? What is it? There's no answer. It's just
he was totally gonna tell Rey that he loved her. There's that.
I mean, I guess
that's real.
I guess.
No matter what anyone says, they did an interview where it was like, what was Finn gonna say to Rey when they were gonna fall into that quicksand? And I think J.J. Abrams or John Boyega was like, oh, he was just gonna say that he was Force sensitive. I was like, that's not something that you shout out when you're about to die.
That's why I'm like, they didn't know. They don't fucking. They're just coming up with this. Like, so
they
just
clearly
like,
did not want to admit the fact that there was supposed to be a potential love story there, but then they decided
they fucked it up.
The awful ship between
oh my god,
and
I
Kylo.
fucking hate it. I know Steph loves that shit, and she got the ending. I told her before we went. Stephanie wanted to see Kylo and Rey together, right? Okay, long story short, I said J.J. Abrams is going to do this. This is what I told her. I said, J.J. Abrams is going to do what? He's going to appease to the fans. Why? Because he knows that shit sells. Because that's exactly what he did in The Force Awakens. So he's going to repeat it because he knows it works. So he's going to listen to all you fucks on the internet that keep saying they need to be together, just like Joker and Harley. And he's going to make it a thing. And guess what? It was a fucking thing. And I was like, I'm not surprised. At this point, like, I know what J.J. Abrams going to do with this series. So just like...
Do you remember? Did you ever watch Pacific Rim?
No, I only saw like clips of it. I haven't seen it though. The first one or the second one, or does it matter?
The first one.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen Guillermo.
But what I'm trying to get at is Pacific Rim. The main characters, Mako and white guy. I don't know what his name is.
White guy's
They're white guy Johnny. They're friends. They're friends. And there's not a forced romance in that. And I guess if you're gonna watch it, I won't spoil it too much. But I'll say that they don't force a romance on screen because there is no chemistry that way. And I feel like if you watch Pacific Rim and watch the ending, and you tell me if that's not the way that The Rise of Skywalker should have ended.
I know. I'm curious. Now I might just fucking watch this.
there's the one scene that looks exactly like the scene from The Rise of Skywalker, and you'll know exactly what it is. You'll see it, and you'll be like, "That's what they should have done between these two characters." But I don't know. It's all awful. That whole sequence as well. Like the only redeeming part of the movie, I think, is the fight in the water. I only like that also because it was a reference to Duel of the Fates between Anakin and Obi-Wan. But there was no music in it. I was watching and there's no music.
I kind of like that there was no music though, because it made you like focus on the emotional thing between both of them, you know? So,
but it was like zoomed out shots of like waves crashing and like water, and like you just hear like the bam of like lightsabers going together. Whereas in the trailer, actually, there was apparently a new remix of Duel of the Fates that they were going to use for this movie. Like, John Williams composed a new version of Duel of the Fates, and you hear it in the trailer, sort of. And I feel like there's so much, actually, in the original script of The Rise of Skywalker. John, he made, like, a bunch of tracks that just never got released, because the movie went into a different direction before those went into production, and one of them was an entirely new version of Duel of the Fates, and it just never got used. And I wish that they had either used it then or they used it later during the scene where like Palpatine, who is alive, is taking in
Big
Rey.
breath.
I absolutely hate the fact that Palpatine is back.
That's when I knew the movie was
hate
gonna be
that
shit.
He's involved. I hate that he's involved in any sort of way. I like Palpatine as a character, but I feel like he should not have been there.
So let's rewind, and when that trailer came out, when he laughs at the end, and everybody lost their shit, and everybody was like, holy fuck, this is gonna be nuts, this is gonna be crazy. In my little fucking brain that I have, went, they fucked it up already. They fucked it up already. It's already fucked. This shit's fucked already, because they're bringing him back. They gotta sell motherfuckers seats.
Well, because
that's like, what the fuck does he have to do with anything?
They killed
Fuck this crusty old man.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I am your grandfather. Bro, I'm like, how are you going to do beat for beat what the... I was just like, bro, this doesn't have... Like, he just comes out of nowhere and is like, yeah, you're my kid. What? It's not the same as Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. It's just not.
Here,
I'm sorry.
I'll make it worse. Do you want to know how I can make it worse?
Go ahead.
It's revealed through some sort of like a Star Wars fact or like interview or like some book that just got announced. Oh, the novelization, I think, of The Rise of Skywalker. It's revealed that was where Palpatine was the whole time, and that the Emperor that Darth Vader threw down the well in the Death Star was not the real Palpatine. It was a clone. Yeah. Soak it in. Soak it in. Just
you know how much that fucks up a clone.
Not only do you ruin this character, but you go back and retroactively ruin someone else's storyline.
Yeah, like, why would you just leave that be? This was not I fucking hate Palpatine. At this point now, I don't like his character.
I love Palpatine. I
fucking hate him.
I love the fact that he was swinging around on a giant robot arm. Well,
he was Hades the whole time. Like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
Oh my god. And
that was my other issue with the thing is that the scourge of scale in this movie is so prominent, whereas in the original Star Wars, the main thing was that you had a giant super weapon that could destroy a planet. The main threat was that you had this giant spaceship that could focus a laser that could destroy a planet, right? That seems like insane, the fact that it would destroy a planet. But then you go further and you go to Starkiller Base, and what it does is it sucks the energy of a star, and it destroys 5 planets or 3 or something like that. And I'm like, okay, it's like a slightly bigger Death Star, that's fine. But then you have the Final Order fleet, and every single one of those Star Destroyers has a cannon that can destroy a planet. The threat is too big that it kind of loses all tension, where it doesn't seem plausible that the bad guy would win. You know what I mean? Like with the Death Star, it's gonna destroy a planet. That's fine. Like it's horrifying, but at the same time, it's like in the context of a space battle, that's a realistic goal for a villain. Like, it's small enough that you can manage it, but large enough that it's a threat. When you have a character go over and be like, I'm gonna destroy all the galaxies, it's like, well, he can't possibly do that because the bad guy has to lose at this point. Like, it doesn't seem like you can't leave me. You can't. There's no suspension of disbelief where I'm gonna assume that this bad guy is ever gonna win. Of course he's gonna lose. The threat is too large. He has to be stopped in some way, shape, or form. Especially if they want to make another movie. So the fact that the First Order fleet was just hanging around, in this planet, in this giant ass planet, where like a bunch of people were just like chilling. By the way, all these ships were fully furnished and like fully staffed, and you still couldn't find out where this planet is. Think about like if you told a secret to 20 people, how quickly that secret would go away. Can you imagine how hard it would be to keep the whereabouts of a planet unknown between like 10,000 people on every single one of those ships, and there's like a billion ships like littered across the sky when they all flew up? Someone has to have spilled the beans and found, oh, this is how you get to Exegol. Someone had to have found out one way, shape, or another. There's no, it's too big of a secret to keep. So that doesn't even make sense to me in the first place. The fact that the Palpatine is still back and alive, that doesn't make sense to me either. All of this is just awful.
Yeah, it's too convoluted to the point where it's like, even if you try, because they did, even if you try to like bring it back and like scale it back and like be like try to put the pieces back together, it's to the point where the stakes are too much. The characters have no like real motives other than possibly two. The send-offs for most of the characters is terrible. Most of the ending isn't even ended. It's just left open. And the ending itself, like the main ending that's supposed to end the whole series, is a person deciding to be a Skywalker. She didn't embrace her parents who decided not to let her be. Like, there's something there where I'm like, so you decide that your family, even though it has Palpatine in it, is not important. Even though your dad decided, or was it her dad or her mom? Either way, one of them decided, we're not going to let you go down this route. But no, it's okay. You guys don't matter anyways. I'm a Skywalker. Like,
I think there was a scene. There's a scene very early in the movie where someone goes up to her and asks her what's her name was. She goes, "My name's Rey." And it's like, what's your family name? And Rey was like, "I don't have a family name. I don't have a family." And at the very end of the movie, she gets asked that same question, like, "What's your name? Rey? Rey who?" And I feel like for there to have been actual like character growth in there, it shouldn't have been a matter of like what she decides to call herself, like which family she decides to identify with. I feel like her answer should have just been, "My name's Rey." I feel like that would have been a better that would have been a better ending to that word, because it's not about whether or not you're a Palpatine or a Skywalker. It should be about the fact that it didn't matter in the first place, because she was Rey before and after she found out that she was a Palpatine. It shouldn't have mattered what her name was. So when that old lady asked her what her name was, she should have just been like, "Just Rey. My name's just Rey. I'm from here. My name's Rey." Also, right before that, just the symbolic gesture of like taking the lightsabers, putting them in a nice clean like red cloth, tying them up and burying them in the sand as a symbolic gesture that the Jedi is over. We no longer need these weapons. The war is over. It's done. And then she just goes out the next second over and just like pulls out her own lightsaber, and I'm like, what the heck does that mean?
It means it's not over.
You just have your own? You're the only one allowed to have it now?
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense.
None
of it makes sense. We're trying to make sense of it, but none of it makes sense. I mean, none of it makes sense.
The lightsaber, it has like the different crystals on it, so it can be any color, and she went with yellow. But that's a cool design for a lightsaber. But like, if you were gonna have that, should have had it earlier in the movie, not at the very, very end, where like you decide to bury all the other lightsabers.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Also, the Knights of Ren, were they there? Were they fucking there? Because I have people online saying, and Steph believes this too, and I can see it. But were they there in that moment where Kylo went to help Rey, and he was fighting those people? Was that them? There's no. Was it confirmed or was it not? I don't know if it was or wasn't, but
they even showed off the fact that the Knights of Ren were people that they hired from. They're like they know Taekwondo. Like they're like martial artists. They were from. No, like they made the point of showing off like the actors they got for the Knights of Ren were all actors from the movie called The Raid. Have you seen it?
Oh yeah, no, and I props. I've seen it and I saw their moves and I was like, yeah, that's fucking badass.
They were teasing the fact that these guys know all sorts of martial arts. They're gonna have a sick ass boss battle at the end of the trilogy. Just you wait, and then Kylo Ren walks in, and the Knights of Ren. Kylo Ren just turns around, shoots him with a blaster, and the guy just dies, and that's it.
Where's the Taekwondo?
It was probably in the other script.
Probably at this point. I don't want to.
Did you read it?
The thing is, I don't want a J.J. Abrams cut of the Rise of Skywalker. I think I'm good with just letting it bury that shit with the lightsabers. That's what I'm saying.
But then he's gonna pull out a new lightsaber.
Fuck. No.
It's gonna be yellow.
Fuck. Go back, please.
Did you ever read the Colin Trevorrow script?
I didn't read it all. I will see. This the thing is, I wanted to read it because I actually wanted to see his movie. Where I was like, at this point, like if they bring JJ back, I had a feeling he was just gonna, do his same thing. And I was like, if you got Rian Johnson, who does know sci-fi, he does. You can't deny that he didn't. But he kind of does. Look, you might disagree, but he kind of does. The only thing he didn't clearly understand was Star Wars sci-fi, because it's completely different than general sci-fi. Star Wars has its own lore that if you don't know how to juggle that shit you're gonna look like a sad clown. And so he looked like a sad clown. But
fair enough.
Colin Trevorrow could have. I just wanted to see it. I just wanted to see. At this point, I was thinking, if we're gonna get a different director of a movie, just fucking do it then. Let's see what he can come up with. But
so I didn't read the whole script, but there is someone made a video, and I'll send it to you after this.
Mm-hmm.
Someone made an animated movie of the basic gist of what the Colin Trevorrow script was supposed to be, and it doesn't retcon The Last Jedi. It's not a perfect movie, and it doesn't, it's a proper send off. I think. I mean, it's a lot better than the way that The Rise of Skywalker was structured, because The Rise of Skywalker was trying to be a trilogy all on its own, but this one was trying to be a continuation of The Last Jedi. The idea that Rey had to be a Palpatine is not in that script. The fact that Rey and Kylo have to get together is not in that script. They actually give Rose something to do. They actually make proper sense of it. They actually give Rey the cool double lightsaber that we thought she was gonna get because she has a staff. All that's in there, and it's not the perfect script, but it is significantly better than the half-ass walking back that we got off of The Rise of Skywalker.
Bro, give me that movie. Even if it's not as good, I guarantee it would have been at least. It would have. Oh my gosh. Because all of that sounds already better than what we got. Because what J.J. Abrams did was just not what I wanted at all. It was too expected. It was too if you look, you don't gotta be you don't gotta be super intelligent to know how stories go. And if you know the general gist of a hero's journey, you know how this shit gonna end. You know how this shit's gonna end, and you know how it's gonna go. And J.J. Abrams didn't fucking change it up. So the fact that script exists and those plans were there, that's what I wanted to see, because that was developed, and that should have just been properly Rian Johnson fucked it up, sure, but at least follow it up. Because it's then you're just also not just shitting on Star Wars, you're shitting on Rian Johnson. It's still fucked up to shit on him, even though he did a job. He's hired to be a director. He directed it, even though you didn't like it. He still did it. I mean, why would you just shit on it completely? it just doesn't seem respectful for me for someone to just disregard it like that. And it's just, it makes me feel bad for Rian Johnson, honestly, because I'm just like, the dude obviously was just throwing Hail Marys and was like, we'll see if this sticks. We'll see if this sticks. But like, not continue it is just like, then what's the point of having a trilogy? Because it's like,
I think I get the reason why he didn't want to continue that movie from where Rian Johnson left off, because they kind of leave it off in a kind of a fucked up state. Because again, I feel like there is a difference between subverting someone's expectations versus just throwing away every single thing that was set up. And as a fan of a very recent TV show about dragons that ended recently, there's a difference between a subversion of expectations and just completely throwing out setups from like this is where we expect this character to go, because that's the way that we set it up for how many seasons. And because you want to shock the audience, you're going to go a completely different route, and the payoff is only good for that initial moment. But then when you think about it some more, it's like, wait, why did this occur? Why was it like this? And I understand the need to walk back that entire movie, but there could have been a more elegant way to do it. And I maybe it's just because we never got it, but I kind of feel like I like the Colin Trevorrow script a lot better.
100%. I mean, just hearing your what you said about it, bro. Oh my gosh! Like, because you could still follow up the Last Jedi, as fucked up as it was. You could still follow it up, because you could use that fucked up state, that weird fucked up state that it got left on, and use that as a way to sort of make this movie even look better as the last movie. But J.J. Abrams didn't do that. He just did exactly what people wanted. And I'm just like, bro, why? Like, why? It's just...
We'll never know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Star Wars.
I wish it wasn't, though. Because I love the lore of it. Like, I always look back and I'm always like, when I was a kid, the thing about Star Wars that I loved so much was the Jedi, and the Jedi were so cool to me. Like, seeing Samuel L. Jackson with his purple lightsaber, or just in general, like, there's so much lore to it that I thought was so dope, so interesting, and so cool, that, you know, to go back to that in a newer, you know, updated form like this, I was a little disappointed with everything. And I was like, it doesn't take a fucking brainiac to realize that this is poor storytelling through and through from every single movie. And I feel disappointed. One, because The Force Awakens, that'll be fine. I'll let that one go. It was the first movie. I get it. Last Jedi, it's Rian Johnson. The dude is a director auteur. Like, he directs good movies. And for him to do that, I was just like, you had me sleeping, bro. And then and then for The Rise of Skywalker, J.J. Abrams didn't change anything. I was just like, bro, why? Like, why? Like, I get that you don't want to do what Ryan did, but that doesn't mean you gotta exactly do what people want, because we see that if you do exactly what people want, no one is ever going to be satisfied, because people want different things. And it's just like, why would you focus? I mean, it was mishandled to begin with, you know, with the whole, like, sending it off and trying to make a new trilogy and throwing shit at the board and trying to find a way to make more money, because we need new toys, we need new merchandise, it's just, the whole thing obviously was rooted from not a place of, like, care. Like, people just didn't care. Like, they just wanted money. And it's just upsetting. Like, it's just like, this has the potential to be such a good drama, space drama. And it already is. But you're just gonna make the original space drama that fucking created a hero's journey, you're gonna fuck that up? Like, that's what pisses me off the most when I think about it, because I'm like, you just tarnish that for some people. There's some people who grew up with that. Like, that to me is fucked up.
Don't worry, because the next trilogy that they're gonna come up with is gonna take place in the High Republic, hundreds of years before any of this should ever happen. Because you cannot go forward anymore. The future is fucked. You have to go to the past. So we'll see what the next asshole does with the Star Wars brand. But until then, watch The Mandalorian season 2.
Well, I'm definitely gonna watch that. But I got finished. We gotta start season 1. But
You haven't?
no, dude, I have not started it. I know. Baby Yoda, I know.
It's good.
But
Baby Yoda.
but that next asshole who's gonna try to make no movies is none other than Kevin Feige himself. So I have hope that at least they'll be interesting. Yeah, they were like, listen, we're fucking it up. We're gonna give it to you, bro. They literally just, that's it. They're like, we need to make good movies or else people are not gonna, because The Force Awakens made a lot of money. Last Jedi made a lot of money. Rise of Skywalker was below those. Like, you cannot deny that it made a lot of money, but not that much as they expected. And so it was a disappointment for them. And that's a big thing that they had to readjust and reevaluate, because they were like, if we need to sell more shit, we need this to be top, you know? So they're going to try to continue it, especially with the shows and everything, but we'll see what happens. We'll see how much old lore they can pick apart and try to fuck up. Cause
I hope Kenobi is good.
I hope so too. I have high hopes for Kenobi specifically. I don't know why,
That's
but
my favorite character.
Yeah. He's a good ass character. So
They're gonna fuck it up.
fuck, dude! Don't say you just put that out in the world. Don't put it in the universe. No. Ewan. How do you pronounce his name? Ewan. Ewan. Is it Ewan?
Ewan
McGregor. Christopher Robin. We can't fuck him up. But I mean, yeah. There's so much in the Rise of Skywalker that I'm just like, but I'm
parse through it. Like, okay, here, can I read off my list really quickly? Just
just to
round it out.
Just round it out. Go.
So the very first thing was the dead speak. Why is Palpatine just broadcasting a call out? I don't understand what the deal is when, how, and why Palpatine is just like, yo, I'm over here, motherfuckers, you can't touch me.
Gangster shit. He really just decided to be thug life.
He released the video on Instagram Live.
Yeah, he
was like, yo, what's up?
He 6'9". He 6'9"'d it. He came back and was like, I'm back. Oh my gosh.
Who were those people in the beginning, and why did they just have the Sith holocron hanging out in a treasure chest out in the open? Like the people, the village that Kylo Ren was attacking, it was just in a treasure chest. Some unknown.
Not explained.
Any of these people are
not explained. Let's just drop that in there.
It's not in the opening crawl either. Like, it's just like Kylo Ren just goes to a planet. Fuck it. Snoke jar. That's all it says. I think that's all.
Yep. I'll leave that one there. Were
the fully staffed Final Order fleet just chilling underground, waiting for someone to show up for decades?
Yeah, brother.
if we're expected to believe that Palpatine's just been hanging out here since the end of Return of the Jedi, that was before Rey was born. And Daisy Ridley is like almost 30 years old, which means they've been chilling for like at least 30 years.
They've been waiting for someone to come into that Coliseum so they could cheer. That's all they were.
There was a line that Poe says, which just says, somehow Palpatine returned. It just says lazy and uninventive.
The line itself is...
where were the Knights of Ren all this time, and why did they just now show up? Like, they weren't there in The Last Jedi. They were being teased in The Force Awakens, and they just completely jobbed at the end of The Rise of Skywalker. Like, they barely did anything, which is a complete waste of their talent. Because again, they're martial arts dudes. They didn't even do a single kick in that entire movie. Not a. They were supposed to,
and they were also supposed to be the same tier as Kylo, if not some of them better. So it was like, what? They definitely dropped the ball.
Kylo brought a gun though, so it's fine. When they find Ochi's ship in the middle of the desert, it's been there for like ever since Luke became a Jedi, like after the Death Star blew up. So that means it was also chilling there for the exact same amount of time that the Final Order was being around, which means no one went back and reached for the ship.
They forgot.
Okay, Palpatine hired this guy to go kill his children and grab his granddaughter, right? Mm-hmm. When he didn't come back, they didn't send a single person out there to go check on, like, where the fuck was he? For like 20 plus years?
Is Snoke on your list?
Well, Snoke Jar, I think, is the only thing on the list. What, he just shows up in a jar. That's it.
I honestly forgot about that moment. Yeah.
Before Rey left, she says, "There's so much I want to tell you," and then Finn says to Rey later on, "Rey, I never told you. None of these were ever set up or referenced ever again." like when Rey was crying in Leia's arms.
Yeah.
They did that just because they needed a shot of like Carrie Fisher hugging Daisy Ridley, but they didn't set that scene up properly. So that had nothing to do with the story, and also Finn's thing that he wanted to tell Rey never got told. So we're just supposed to.
We're supposed to guess.
Deal with that.
Yeah, we're supposed to guess.
C-3PO's big dramatic death just gets reversed immediately.
I knew that
his
shit.
Whole thing of his whole thing of like having his memory erased and like how I just want to see all my friends for the last time, and then he goes back home and R2 is like, "Yo, dude, I got a backup of your cloud saves right here."
Well, that's funny, but it's also funny how he said that line, right? He's like, "I gotta see my friend." How are they're your friends? They weren't there when you like. They didn't share memories with
all
like.
Your friends are dead.
Yeah, like, where are they? What are you talking? Which friends?
My next one is, how can Rey sense Chewie on Ren's ship from Khajiit, miles away, but not a few feet away in the desert, when she goes with the ship?
Because we're supposed to believe. Yeah.
It's drama.
Oh my god.
The Force.
Unexplained.
Zori says to Poe, "I've been saving up my whole life to get me out of here using this all-access passport." And then a few minutes later just says, "Here, take my passport." Rey goes to Kylo Ren's ship, and Darth Vader's helmet, along with the Sith dagger and everything, was just hanging around out in the open in an unlocked room. Like it was just chilling, and like Kylo Ren's room was just like open for the stormtroopers to walk in. They never established that the blade had a little pop out thing. Do you remember that the dagger when she grabbed it and like lined it up with the
yes, my fucking god!
She pulls out like a little tape measure off the side that points to where the Sith holocron is. And they never explained how she figured that out or why that's a thing.
It fucking happened. It just happened, and I was like, how am I supposed to believe that this is just happening now? How am I supposed to go with the story right now?
Speaking of that dagger, roughly half of the movie is spent securing that MacGuffin for another MacGuffin that just gets destroyed in the next scene over. So they spend like half of the movie looking for that dagger, and then as soon as Rey gets it, Kylo Ren just crushes it in his hands the very next scene. So half of that movie was for nothing.
Yeah. They were supposed to be equivalent of Infinity Stones, I guess, but what the fuck were they supposed to?
And the very last thing on my list is just the whole Star Destroyers having Death Star cannons on them, which I already talked about. So those are all the things I noticed. And mind you, I was only half paying attention to the movie. I'm sure if I actually sat there attentively, I would notice more.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't bear to look at it anymore. It was
Fair.
Star Wars is like one of my favorite series, but like the fact that they just decided to just ruin it like this, and they did in fact ruin it, kind of sucks. Like I'm not gonna cry about it, but like it kind of sucks that they it's kind of sucks to know that this is a franchise that people have grown up with for like so many years. It's like 40 years old. And they just decide we're just gonna use it to get as much money as we can, and not even care about what the story's gonna be.
Yeah. See, that's and that's the sad part. And moral of the story, kids, if you're a studio exec, that, and if you ever become a studio exec, don't be dumb as fuck.
Don't be a fan of anything. You will always be let down.
Or that. Imagine telling that to your kids, bro. That would be so upsetting.
Yeah. The moral of the story is don't let Disney buy your franchise.
Don't let Disney buy anything.
Just
the head of
just cut to that one screenshot of like George Lucas like selling the Star Wars license, and he looks like he's about to die.
Yeah, I think he definitely died inside.
I mean, he's laughing all the way to the bank. He kept the toy license, so.
Oh yeah, he did. I did not know that.
That was his one stipulation. He was like, "Look, you guys can keep making all the movies that you want.
Oh, he's smart as fuck.
I want the cut of all the merchandise."
He's smart as fuck because that's where the money is.
Because he knows.
That's smart as fuck.
He knows that's exactly where the money is. But yeah, that's all I got.
That's all I got too.
Skywalker.
About that topic.
The Rise of Skywalker. Yeah.
I mean, I could go on a little bit more about other stuff that we didn't mention, but honestly, I don't want to. Like,
Next time.
Yeah,
next time.
Tune in next time, folks. Yeah.
We'll do that. We'll do that for next time.
Yeah, we'll save this. But yeah, that seemed like a pretty good combo, Darwin.
Thank you.
Man, I was not expecting. I mean, I knew we were gonna talk about the Rise of Skywalker, but man, dude, I was so upset, and I still kind of am, and so, but it is what it is. It's a movie. Watch it if you want or not. It is what it is.
At the end of the day, it is just a movie, and like people who are like, we should just like it. It's like, no, you can criticize something that is objectively bad. But don't lose sleep over it, because like it is just a movie. But at the same time, this movie does mean something to certain amount of people. Like, people can get attached to media in a sense. So it's dismissive to just discount the people that feel that way. But also, I don't know. Like,
we're just
take it seriously.
Listen,
Don't take it too seriously.
Yeah, we're giving you guys a life lesson, bro. Like, be a fan, but also don't give a fuck that much, because people will disappoint you sometimes, and it happens. It's life. No one's perfect.
Be objective about it.
Yeah.
About it, because it's okay to criticize the thing that you like, because it just means that you like it a lot. The fact that you have a lot of people crying out, like being angry about this movie, means that's how much they care about the movie. Because this is going against everything that they actually wanted for the film franchise. Because they've been with this series for like such a long time.
Yeah. Except for Raylo fans. They got what they wanted. They got what they wanted, fuck. They got what they wanted. They kissed. You happy? They kissed. that
physically in pain.
That's all I gotta say about that, folks. He should have killed her, but they kissed. They kissed.
Just watch The Mandalorian.
I almost want to just leave it at that. Just watch The Mandalorian. All right, Darwin. Is there anything else you want to say before I end this podcast?
No, just thanks for having me on. If you want to chat some more, I'm down. Me.
Oh, of course, bro. I mean, it's quarantine time. Everyone's at home.
Everyone's quarantined.
Everyone's fucking stuck.
Yeah. Come check me out. There you go.
All right. Well, Darwin, until the next time, I'll catch you later. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for hopping on to this podcast. I do appreciate that a lot. So, thank you. And have a good one, bro. We'll talk soon. All right.
Bye.
Bye. How do you...
An outro to your podcast?
What? It's right here.
Oh.
Right now, I'm doing the outro without a video. Ladies and gentlemen, you are hearing me live. No, I'm just playing. So there you guys go. That was the podcast. There's no video to this ending because my camera, if you have noticed, my phone camera fucking reached its peak, its limit. It cannot. It's 4-stroke limit. It's gone. But I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Lot to talk about with Darwin. You can follow him actually on YouTube. I think he mentioned it in the podcast, but he does stream video games. If you guys are into streaming games, do please go support him. SoraMotto is his YouTube channel. SoraMotto. 2 T's, not 3. Fuck, I messed up. 2 T's. SoraMotto on YouTube. Go look that up. Subscribe to him. Give him all the love. But yeah, there you guys go. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Before I leave you guys, I want to do like a late plug. I make shirts, guys. Go to tpublic.com, tpublic.com. Look for Revo Art. That's REVX Art, and you can find shirts that I have up there. Do you guys have masks? Are you guys safe? If you don't, there are also masks up on the TeePublic website. Get a Planet of the Apes mask to look cool and dope out and about when you're shopping for your Pokemon cards. So there you guys go with that. Also want to let you guys know you can always stop by my website, revxart.com. I sell art prints. I'm starting now to sell Pokemon cards only because of the volume of Pokemon cards I'm opening. I would like to give them back. I do different special bundles on there, so go just check it out. And yeah, guys, if you're listening to this on Spotify, continue to follow me. More episodes are to come. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You know the fucking drill. All right, until the next episode, guys, thank you so much for listening, watching, or whatever the case. Bye-bye.